Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today. Welcome to episode 77 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. I'm really sweaty to start off this episode, so let me just dish it over to my boy, Lord Cognito, because I'm still cooling off from the gym, man. I'm still red in the face. The hair is frizzy. I'm coming in hot.
Coming in hot, man. Fresh workout. That's good. Health is wealth, though. That means you're doing good. You snuck it in before the show, so I respect that. I've done that before. And you feel good because what it is, you got what was important out the way, you know what I'm saying, from yourself, physical. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. Back in the mix. The Dukes are back. A lot to talk about, man. I'm excited for this episode. What about you, man?
I'm pretty excited. We got a lot of follow-ups from the audience. At first, it was looking like a light show, but I want to just shout out the audience. Y'all came through, asked a lot of different questions for this episode. Originally, I just want to let everyone know the patron question form was empty, but then we had 60 write-ins out of nowhere. So thank you all. Appreciate you. You make this show happen. Speaking of which, for those of you who are patrons, you are writing in, Defining Duke Ultimate, episode 73, available right now for all of you to listen to. Me and Cog teamed up to talk about a new era of Xbox JRPGs. Cog, what is the rating on this episode, my friend?
Love that episode. That was one of those ones where, let's be honest, as gamers, we always complain, they need to, and this better happen or else. And it's like, you got to give people their flowers when they make strides in the direction that you criticize them. And is everything perfect? No. But they have really made some sure. I like that episode. We focused in JRPGs. You got a little Persona talk, some history. You know what I'm saying? We really hit it from a lot of angles. So highly recommend. You already know how I feel about Ultimates. I feel like Ultimates is some of our best focused work. And I think people should really check it out.
Yeah, available on patreon.com/laststandmedia, where you can also get early access ad-free to this show. Goes live on Thursdays. Otherwise, we'll see you on free feeds on Sundays. We got a lot of funny write-ins this week, but first, some serious ones. Andrew M. writes in, "My fine Dukes, it's been a while since I've written in, and unfortunately, today's write-in is about an issue I've recently discovered with my Series X that is apparently pretty common for both Series S and X users." And Cog, I picked this one because I thought you would probably find this interesting since you travel with your console a lot more than I do. He said, "Bear with me on this long write-in because I think it's very important to the Xbox community. I travel quite often, and even though the Series X is rather beefy, I often bring it with me so I can still game while in hotels. I just got back from 2 different trips, and after finally getting home, I go to set up my Series X back in my living room only to discover a major issue. I'm not great on the exact names of what part is damaged, but essentially, when having the Series X stand up, the part of the HDMI connective chips within the HDMI port, or whatever the connective part is called, is now frayed and damaged. At times, I can still get a connection from the port to the TV, but it often bumps me down to 480p resolution or doesn't connect at all. Upon researching this online, I discovered it is a common defect that occurs for Series S and X users that travel often or move their Xbox around frequently. It's a glaring issue that needs to be addressed by Microsoft. For my own situation, I am, of course, a few months out of my 1-year warranty, so I'm not sure how I'll handle it. This sucks, by the way. I think word on the issue needs to be spread around the Xbox community so users are aware. Using a cheap HDMI port that naturally wears and tears from common usage is a lousy move by Microsoft. I've been with them since the original Xbox, and on my 360s, Xbox One, and One X, I've never had any issues with the HDMI ports, even though I frequently moved it around. And I can attest to this in a different way. While I don't travel with my Series X, there's been times where I've had a 480p image appear on my console and multiple resets, and I'm like, nothing's really working here. And I thought maybe it was something to do with like a handshake problem with my Elgato 4K capture, but it's never been that. Just suddenly it starts working, and I toss my hands and go like, all right, cool. It works out at least. But I can attest to this being a thing, and I wanted to know if you had any experience, Cog, if you knew about this at all, as someone who travels a lot with the little man.
Yeah, I travel with little man a lot. Unfortunately, the reason why I guess I haven't experienced it is that I'm exempt because I have the X screen, and the extreme goes over that port. So my usage rate of connecting it into different TVs and different ports all the time is less. But it doesn't negate the issue that people are talking about if this is the case. And yeah, that's a problem. They have to really address it. I think the other thing too, in addition to this, is remembering Wi-Fi connectivity spots. Like sometimes it forgets it, and when you're in a different place, I want it to act like a cell phone. If I go somewhere and I've already established that connection, then it should remember that. But to this, I had no idea that this was going on, to be honest. And yeah, this is something that we should raise awareness of. You know, I would highly recommend hitting at Xbox support. They've been excellent, to be honest. I've always had positive experiences with at Xbox, support. So I would definitely hit them up. Now, about your warranty, that sucks too, because rule of number one, anything you care about, and I know we Last Stand ain't got the bag yet, but I'm just saying, Best Buy, bro. Get that. Listen, the geek protection joint is usually people are like, do you want to buy the warranty? Be like, nah, fam.
Always no. Yeah.
Buy the warranty. Elite controllers, consoles. Because what I like about it is you go in, there's no troubleshoot, Matty. Is go and get one from the back. Really? Like, I've went through, and this is another one. This Elite controller used to have problems, boy. The rubbers, the grips, all type of the old joint. And I was going through these Elite controllers, $200 controllers. I'm like, nah, man. And I would go in there, and it would be under that Geek Squad warranty. And boom, right on the spot, they'd be like, yo, grab one out the back. I'm like, okay, no questions asked, as long as you had that warranty. So that's what I usually do with stuff I really care about from a console perspective, hardware perspective. I generally get it from Best Buy if I can.
Dude, Best Buy is the shit. Like they even do price matching. Like you can go to other sites that have a sale and be like, hey, y'all want to sell it to me for that price? And they'll do it. It's really great. They're a good place to shop. They do exclusive steelbooks. They're a place that I would recommend. It's where I go now. My local GameStop lost my respect when I went to get Near Replicant from them. They're like, we don't carry that game. We didn't order many copies of it. I'm like, y'all are a gaming store, and I'm going to go to my local Best Buy that sells like DVDs still and stuff, and I'm going to pick it up there. That's what you're telling me? You're shameful. I'm out.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah, man, I'm a Best Buy guy now, just like you.
There's levels.
There are. Speaking of levels, Alex Kilgore writes in, hey, Dukes. So I wanted to thank Matty for recommendations of games to play. I downloaded Shredder's Revenge, and it's really good. Definitely worth trying. But I wanted to share that I played Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc through Game Pass. Now, the reason I picked this was originally I was going to be a pain in the ass, but read that next paragraph for me. Read what this kind of gamer is.
I am a first-person shooter of gamer, but my main game is Destiny 2 with a little over 2,000 hours in the game. Here you go. So something like Danganronpa is out of my comfort zone. I've only got about 5 hours into it, and I can say, what the fuck is this game? Now you can read the rest. Let me hear this. Read this. All part. Right. Let's go.
Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying playing it, but Jesus Christ, what kind of weeb-ass shit is this? It's a fucked up game, though, about high schoolers that I've fallen victim into really liking. The story itself has me asking so many questions that I'm going to have to finish it. Cog, you need to try this game. It's available through xCloud streaming with touch controls. I really recommend getting through the first trial and going from there. After that first trial is what really sucked me into it. So thank you, Matty, for recommending this demon of a game. And shout out to Drew and Sean from Discord for the words of encouragement. Love the show, guys, and I hope you have this girl I thought was my friend ended up trying to set me up kind of day. Now, one thing I wanted to bring this on the bigger scale, right? We talked about this on our last DDU. What was the game you wanted me to play?
Oh, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Ichiban Kasuga, let's go. That's the bet. Then I'll free myself. I'll do my homework. I will do my penance and finish the chapter 1 of Danganronpa.
So I got to go through Like a Dragon all the way.
And I'll go through like Danganronpa all the way.
Okay.
I'll go
all right.
fairness.
All right. Yep, I'm willing to do this for you.
I'll put it all on the line for Yakuza Like a Dragon. I really love that game. I have
no doubt. That game looks great. It looks like Persona 5. So
oh my God, it's so much fun. So for that, I will do it because that's only right. We making each other play each other's favorites.
Okay. Okay. All right, Cog. You're on. It's on,
baby. It's on.
All right, cool. So we got some conversations that continue with the pissgate from last week. Now, I expected opening the patron thread that I was going to be under attack. There's really only one person that showed issue with what I had done, But in fact, what I wanted to focus on, not to sidestep the problem, Cog, but there was a call to arms for a different type of urination strategy for men. So we'll start with Owen to set it up, and then I want to follow up with Macro. Owen writes, "Good day, Dukes. Your conversation last week prompted me to recall a recent interaction with my wife. I've been with my wife nearly 10 years, and she walks into the bathroom recently. I'm sitting there on the throne, as one does, and looking through my social media feed. She stops dead mid-stride and says, 'Oh, you're taking a shit?' I reply, 'Nope, just a casual pee.' She says, 'Motherfucker, y'all can do that too. Do we women not get anything? Have a, for the love of God, wash your hands kind of day.'" Now, continuing that, Cog, this is where it gets really interesting with Macro. "Greetings, nasty hands, Matty, and squeaky clean cock. While Matty's unwashed grippers cause some dismay, I must take advantage of this new pissgate to spread my agenda. Normalize men sitting down to pee. It is the same principle as Matty's patented dingle-dangle technique, but leaves even less opportunity for mess and lets a man feel momentary comfort. Please take this argument into consideration and have a wash your damn hands kind of day." So yeah, I'm not trying to sidestep this, right? A lot of people want me to wash my hands after my urination strategy, but Cog, there's been a lot of write-ins. These were two I wanted to pick, but there's a lot of write-ins of men asking for us to validate sitting to pee. Can you get behind this?
I cannot get down with this. From a moral standpoint, I'm hurt. I'm hurt by my men in the LSM community right now. And listen, we doing judgments. As a man, you are not allowed to sit down and pee if that is your sole function. If your sole function is just to, number one, handle your... I'll even take the Matty strategy that there's a gentleman-like way to go about straddling the bowl so that you lean. What does it matter? You lean over and
straddle the bowl, hands behind the back.
Right, behind the back. Yeah. As you're very manly. Like, I'm in control of the situation. Okay, I'm coming around to that. Maybe, right? Because I'm still, we're still sprinkle over here. So anyway,
yeah, sure.
This right here, Macro, who are these? We naming shaming. Owen, listen, man. The only reason that is legit, and I will accept this, is if you came in with the mission of number two. So you come in there, number two, yo, we got a handle. All right, we're going to sit there, we're going to handle, rumble. Let's do what we do. And during the course of the process, number one happens. So you're like, all right, let's knock it out. You aim down, you handle the business, right? Fine. You got 2 and 1 in sequence. Yeah. If you wake up and say, all right, I got to go, and you sit, and the only excuse you get, and that's like you still don't get an excuse, because if there's no urinal, you should go to the urinal, go to the stall and do the Matty, straddle and handle. There's no need to unsanitize your. There's no reason to sit on nothing. There's no reason. You want to sit on it. So no. Bad LSM community. Bad. Do not do this. Look, man, shout out to y'all. I don't know what this epidemic is about. I can't understand it, man. I can't.
Well, they're trying to use my strategy of cleanliness to sidestep that problem and use this as a way for them to be able to sit and pee. But the reality is that's more germ focused, right? My difference is I'm not making contact with any part of the bowl.
Exactly. That's why I'm with you.
Yeah, right. They're sitting on it. I use the foot to flush with the shoe on in here. Again, the straddling the toilet bowl, the shake with the waist. There's no spray. Like Cog thinks I'm a fire hose out here. There's nothing like that happening. We're clean, man. We use the waistband, the jiggle jangle, and we're good. But for those of you who are sitting to pee, I mean, I respect your tenacity. I mean, you're really challenging the societal norms, and I can't help but just respect that and say, like, you've got to go ahead and do that, but do not do it in the name of cleanliness. You just can't.
Exactly.
You just can't.
You want to sit. This person wants to sit. Yeah. Like, clearly.
Yeah. You want to own it, but it's clear there's a lot of men who listen to our show who sit and pee, like, and that's fine. But I don't know, man. Like, it just put the phone in the pocket. Handle your business and go do something else, right?
Here's the thing, man. The reason why, because I think of it, maybe for them, in fairness, this is the home. I'm think about when you at the airport. Think about when you at the most public event. You see these toilet bowls, bro? Chipped, crazy. You don't know what's going on these bowls.
There's still fools who shit in the toilet and just walk away. I don't get it. I don't get it. What happened? What happened?
You gonna subject your ass to this? You gonna play Russian roulette with the butt? Like, no Russian roulette with the buttocks. No.
Yes, sir.
Clean. Like, I'm so ridiculous. Like, if there's an option when I have the number 2, and if there's an option where they have the little seat cover, or I will make my own. I am not trusting.
Oh, dude,
this
I'm
is
a fiend.
Sacred areas.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. No, I'm a fiend. I'll if they don't have that, you like usually in the back of the toilet bowl, they got like the seat cover you can pull out. That thing, I hate that thing because what happens is because it'll hang down, it'll get in the water, and then it'll just slip out, and I'll stand up and be like, my ass was on the seat the whole time, and I didn't even realize.
You didn't realize it.
I hate that. But what I typically do now to avoid that is I'll just, it's a process, right? You rip a line of toilet paper and you just lay it lengthwise. You create a little sacred throne.
Bro.
And after 2 plies have been laid on each side, then I take my seat.
Facts. And I'm so ridiculous. Like, bro, I will do a cleaning job. If there's no seat cover, I'm grabbing an extra roll. Oh, we want to scrub this down right here. We don't know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? But I'm with you, man. So that's why I'm coming at them for cleanliness. If it's your house, okay, that's your business. But I hope you're not doing this in a public situation.
Yeah. If it's your house, I mean, you can get away with it. But in public, man, you can't be laying your ass cheeks on those toilets. You just can't. Robert Schultz has a question for you, Cog. What's up, Dukes? First time writing in, but I've been a listener since day one. The time has come and I got to ask, what does it mean to be outside or outside with it? Cog uses this phrase on every episode, and I finally admitted I'm not entirely sure what it means. Sorry for the old washed guy questions. Cog, please educate our older generation on what it means to be outside.
All right, so it's a young boy thing. The young boys usually, we outside. So pretty much it's just like, one, physically, we're outside, right? Mm-hmm. But 2, because a lot of people are scared. So like, remember when I always attack the Twitter people that be like, 10 tweets and people who always doing this. And because them dudes usually hide behind an avatar. They don't show their face and they want to talk crap about Matty's content, my content, right? So my thing is, when I say, I'm outside or we outside, now you could put the name to the face. Now the person, it's a show of strength. It's a show of fearlessness as a gamer. I'm comfortable who I am. You see who I am, and I'm in these events, and we go everywhere. So that's all outside. It's like a fearlessness. We want to stop the Twitter fingers. Yeah. So that's what we say outside for. And it's just, and plus you meet people, man. It's cool to just meet people, and people are really like come up to you. LSM community, when I was in GCX, came up to me a lot. Yo, Cog, what's up? They was outside. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm talking about. They not just writing in the comments. They coming up to me, talking to me. Even if they disagree with something, we have some fun bands. Yo, bro, I ain't like the way you came at Forza that time. No doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we talk. We want this. Not this behind secret avatars and invisible. Remember when dudes used to have just the egg shape?
They still got the egg shape, man. It's not the egg, but it's just it's a silhouette now.
Dudes is hiding. Now LSM community is outside for sure.
Yeah. I always envision like a house, and then like when you say we're outside, like you're outside someone's house, like taunting them, like what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like that. Yeah, like a fearlessness is how I always interpret it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there you go, Robert. Now you know what it means to be outside, and maybe you could drop it around your grandkids.
I'm done.
Garrett Gatrost writes in, good day, Dukes. I have a dilemma I could use help with. The last few weeks I've been hearing from my daughter's daycare that she has a boyfriend. She is a toddler. Hearing this news made me sort of worried, as any dad would be. This morning, lo and behold, I was sent a video from daycare of them holding hands and playing. Upon further examination of the kid, I had realized I had nothing to worry or fear about, as this poor kid was wearing Crocs. I've never felt more sorry for a kid. As a nurse, I am a mandatory reporter. This is where my dilemma arises. Is it child abuse to force a toddler to wear Crocs, or just bad parenting? If child abuse is, if it is child abuse, I need to alert the DHS of this within 72 hours. Thank you for all the great content, and have a Crocs-free kind of day, gentlemen. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate you. Best of luck with your daughter.
Best of luck. Look, you got to get her on the right path, before it gets wayward. These Crocs are outside. The king is calling himself King Croc right now. It's bad.
I saw that. I saw that. He was taunting you. He was like, you can't stop me. And he posted another picture.
He's talking crazy, talking reckless. But we're going to get him help. We got the change.org going, all the signatures. You know what I'm saying?
I saw the change.org, yeah.
We're gonna help him, man. We're gonna help. We're gonna give him the help he needs, even if he doesn't see it right now. We'll get that man proper footwear, help the support, because them things hurt. Matty already put him through the paces and said them things are not comfortable. So you acted like you fly with your feet hurt when you take them off. We know.
Yes, absolutely, man. It's just a show of defiance.
It's a show of defiance. I get it. We got you though.
You need the attention. We're giving it to you.
Exactly. Shout out to King.
Let's talk about what games we're playing, Cog.
Yes,
I'd like you to go first. You got an interesting portfolio here, so fire away.
Yeah, man. Naraka Blade Point was in demo, Xbox preview. So I gave it a shot, man. It was really cool. Like it had, first of all, I love the art style, the sensibilities, the graphics pretty much gave me like, I'm not going to say like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, but very, trying to compare it to something. What can I compare it to? It's like your traditional fighting game, but it is in a battle royale arena with third person #just one kind of perspective. But the difference is the traversal, like using the left trigger, aiming your little thing at a tree or whatever, and then moving around the map seamlessly, right? That I didn't expect from this, because technically this is a melee sword combat kind of battle royale. So once you get that, then I realized, okay, you got a little counter system, LB do the counter. Okay, we could do a little counter play action. And it's actually deeper than I thought. There's armor sets and things of that nature. And then you go into the game itself, and that's when the hecticness starts. So I will say this, I got destroyed. But from a foundational standpoint, it is way better than I expected. I think it does have some potential. I think I'm gonna mess around with it, man.
How does it stack up to, just real quick, how does it stack up to, like, I think of For Honor? Like, how does it stack up to something like that?
It doesn't have the technical depth. See, that's how I came at it wrong. I'm looking at it like a traditional fighter, stand on stand, the thing. Yeah. This is move around, get the advantage, get the height, get the vantage point. Like, I'm fighting people. I'm like, yo, I can't catch this guy. Like, he's like, it's that kind of, it's a more frenetic energy than I thought it would be. So it's a different style of game, but it's really unique. And I do like, they have like charge attacks where you can hold down, and they have some combos here and there. And the customization is pretty cool. I do feel I want more characters. I feel like they're still limited on the amount. You can customize each, but I still feel you're limited on the amount. But again, early impressions, I did like it. I said, you know what? I am going to give this a chance. I think it's one of those things when you master it, you see the beauty of the game and how you truly supposed to play. So Naraka Blade Point so far with that. And then Fall Guys obviously came out. I waited all this time because I knew it was
your first time.
Yeah, I knew it was going to come to the Xbox at some point. So again, shout out to my boy if he's listening. I got to shout him out, my boy Gene. You know what I'm saying, from lordsofgaming.net, one of the first finders of this game. And look, I get it. This game screams Nintendo energy. Like, I feel like Nintendo made this game. Like, it is a perfect shout out to PlayStation for finding this game and locking it up the time that they knew they had something.
They're great at it, man.
And then shout out to Epic, who once they got it, this thing got their tendrils on it. The minute you load in skins, this, that, it felt like Fortnite. As soon as I jumped, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they leapt right on that acquisition, didn't they?
Oh, bro, they like, yo, we got a baby. We may have a baby Fortnite. Let's get on it with the crowns and the system. Yep. Here's the thing. This is just pure savagery at its finest. It's just, you get in there, you got your little cute character, you're bumping people off the way, you're trying to finish. And then the fun of it is the end of each round and then the elimination. So you start with 16 and you knock them out. And then it's like, you get the next 10 left, you go to the next event. And the variation of events is cool. Like, just, there was one thing I was running a circle, don't get hit by the fan. And then, so you're dealing with the obstacles, but then the madness and the effery from other players. So it's going to cause the arguments and cause the drama. Yeah. It's fun. And it's the last man standing. Shout out to Fall. I get it. It's fun. I'm actually supposed to play with a group with the Lords later, so we'll get that going on. A lot of my friends streaming, they love it. So yeah, I finally got my Fall Guys on, and then of course The home. Listen, I know people like, yeah, he's only doing it because he's that better. Listen, I'm gonna keep telling y'all, Demio is the best new turn-based game to arrive in gaming in some long time. This is from a guy who has Gears Tactics up here as the new. Demio, let me tell you why. Curse of the Serpent Lord, let me tell you, now I've played it even more. Put more hours in, deeper into the dungeon. Me and the homies. I got the who did I have? I'm using the sorcerer class. I got a buff. My boy has the new warlock class who summons this cat, this animal that they can summon and do things with, right? Very cool.
Right.
For another one of my friends, he's got the archer from long distance. And then another one of my friends, he's using who's he using? We got the archer, he's using the guardian, right? Which is up top. Here's the thing. This game, I'm not gonna lie to you, after getting to the final dungeon where you fight the boss, right? This shout out to the cops, they're excited. The thing is, bro, they have some of the best boss designs and mechanics I've ever seen in a turn-based game. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but what I'm gonna say is this: you get there, and I'm fighting this Hydra with like 3 to 4 heads, whatever, right? Fighting it. So we're like, okay, we're gonna try to whittle this thing down, attack it from different angles in this thing. So I'm like, all right, we're not making too much progress, right? Then without spoiling, we realized on the map there was something special that we missed, all 4 of us. And all 4 of us had to do something that ended up becoming a mechanic. That mechanic then allowed us to truly do damage to this boss. Something else happens. I can't spoil the other thing. The other thing that happened is so cool. And I was like, yo, this ain't even the real boss. Like, yo, it's crazy. The level of design that this game has, again, 4-player co-op, that is hard to do in any turn-based. You know what I'm saying? And distinct classes. I'm telling y'all right now, Xbox, I'm on y'all. Y'all better hit resolution games up. There's a PC port. I know, the controller. I get it. Xbox fans need somebody, PlayStation. No, you better hurry up before play because Sony be on the post.
Oh, yeah.
What Sony see?
Oh, yeah.
You better get on this. I'm telling you, they got a massive hit. Not only did they add a new adventure, new character, more balance, and they're not even monetized. They could do skins. They could do a lot of stuff with this thing. I'm telling you right now, Demio is that Gears Tactics. As far as the new turn-based,
okay.
Bro, you know how I feel about Gears Tactics.
I do, yes.
So it's like, man, Demio coming. So yeah, and they keep giving out new content. And the PvP mode's coming soon. We can't wait. Like, yeah. But anyway, what you been playing, man? What's going on?
Yeah, we got a diversity of games. There's one missing here that, don't worry, we'll talk about it for our Game Pass pick of the week. I know a lot of people want me to go off on it.
I took mine off too. Yeah, for you. Yeah.
All right, so first one, still playing Trails from Zero. This is I'm 25 hours in right now, and I'm really liking it. So this is a part of the Crossbell duology. So for those who don't know the order, there's the Sky trilogy, there's the Crossbell duology, and then Cold Steel 1 through 4. And I've played Cold Steel 1 and 2 already. That's kind of what got me into the series. I got some people who wrote into me saying like, hey, what you described for Trails from Zero sounds really cool. Can I start here? Please do not. Please do not. If you want to start where somewhere's like, I guess I'd call it modern and accessible, you probably want to start off with Cold Steel 1 on PlayStation 4. Xbox, this is one they got to get on because this is a series that suffers from exposure, not quality, but exposure. Like they need eyes on it. This is some of the best writing in video games, straight up. Like, wow, that's coming from me. I think I can identify pretty good writing. This is some of the most thorough, thought-provoking writing. And they explain everything. And there are certain points where the exposition can be sort of beating you over the head, especially in like the early Sky games. Like I can say straight up, the first Sky game is literally just I call it like lore, the video game. Like it's just lore. Up until the final 30 minutes of the game, it feels like nothing of true consequence has occurred. And that's how dedicated of writers they are. And I can't help but respect it, and it's transformative writing to me. I can't help but look at it and be like, I'm taking notes, thinking like, oh, that's how they explain that. And it makes you as a gamer pay attention closer. Like everything's intentionally placed. Even if you feel like, oh, it's a waste of time, it's not. And then when you lop on top of that phenomenal turn-based combat, you got something really special. It's been a wonderful journey. I've gone through, this is my, let's see here, Cold Steel 1, 2. This is my 6th Trails game.
Wow.
And I'm loving it. I am loving it. It's really great. So Trails from Zero has been really paying off in a lot of its world building, but also, it's in a new setting. That's the thing. Each of these series, right? I mentioned the trilogy, the duology, and the 4 games in Cold Steel are all in different settings. And so this focuses on Crossbell, which is this kind of futuristic city that's experiencing economic prosperity. So it's a really fun location to explore too. And it's just fun going around talking to people, engaging in quests. You play as a bunch of cops. So it's like a JRPG cop game. It's awesome, man. It's really great. So I know it's a long haul for people. I'm talking like 10 JRPGs you got to go through, but it's been a great kind of One Piece style slow burn that I'm just, don't think of the end goal. Like, just enjoy it, right? That's what gaming is about. Just enjoy the ride. And I have been, because I know now I'm so deep, I'm going to finish them all. And once I'm done, there's going to be nothing like this. I define it as kind of like the MCU for JRPGs. Okay. It's really cool how I'll just say there are characters from Sky that show up in the Crossbell duology in meaningful ways. And it's like, this is awesome, right? Like, it's not just ending with each trilogy and resetting. And we live in a day and age where you barely get to the 3rd game and the series reboots with a new developer, a new vision. And I like that stuff. But this is a place where you have a developer that's built a whole ass universe, game over game over game over game. And they're just focused on writing and storytelling. And in between those moments is excellent combat. So 25 hours in, just finished chapter 2, really liking it. There's, I think, a total of 4 or 5 chapters in the game, or 4 chapters and then a finale. Gotcha. So past the halfway point, I'd say, and really liking it. A game that's probably more up your alley, though.
What's that?
Cog, I think you're going to like this one. Neon White.
Neon
White. So have you not seen this game before? Okay. So Neon White is, I would call it CSGO surfing the game, if you will. You're running around these locations in a first-person shooter. It's got kind of slip and slide movement. And as you're running around these locations, you're finding cards. And each of these cards have an effect when you're shooting them. So, a machine gun, a 3-burst, a shotgun. But then they have discard abilities. And so a lot of this is about traversal and kind of like these short time trials of how quickly can you finish the mission. So I'm talking like 15 seconds. And you get rated off of each of these missions. And you do a sequence of missions. And after 10, you're done with the day. So what happens is you gradually, the game has wonderful pacing in its gameplay. It's just gradually introducing you to new cards. Some of them will let you stomp the ground when you discard them. And it's just all designed to speed you through the level. So the game's got a real good sense of like locomotion, pushing you through. The soundtrack's bopping. It's got a really, really good feel to it. So just alone, it's just fun to play. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Sorry to cut you.
No, you're good.
Getting like a first-person stylish Mirror's Edge kind of vibe?
Yeah, like, a little bit. It's really hard to kind of make a comparison to it because you see its inspirations, but it's very much its own thing. And that's what I like about it. It's very unique. I got it for $22 on Switch because they had a small sale the week of its release. It's available on PC as well. The story, though, is kind of surprisingly good here. So the premise, I think, is what I'll tell you all about because it kind of sells you on the game. So you're sinners, right? You're dead. You went to hell, but now heaven has called you up from hell, and they're having you eliminate demons. And they're saying, if you abide by our rules, we will bring you back. And what happens is your main character, Neon White is his name, doesn't remember what happened, why he died, anything like that. But the people around him, neon yellow, red, purple, so on and so forth, or violet, seem to remember. And you're gradually piecing together this backstory of like why you're here while you're slipping and sliding through these missions. And the dialogue's hilarious. It's engaging. As you go back into these missions, you can find gifts. You can give these people gifts. And you have kind of a light persona, if you will, where you're kind of progressing in a social link and they have side quests that you can do for them. But it's not like a meaty game in the sense of hundreds of hours when I say side quests. Like, they're very brief. Everything about this game is like time trials and replayability of like trying to beat your own score. Each level has insight levels. So you'll get like a ghost or a hint that'll tell you like, here's a shortcut over here to kind of help you through the level to beat your own score. And then you're like, okay, how do I get to that shortcut with this arsenal to like get down to 15 seconds? Really addicting. So Neon White is what the name of this game is, and really liking it. I'm about a couple hours in. Haven't put as much time into it because there's another game that dropped this week that I put more time into, but Neon White, I didn't want to skip out on and have really enjoyed it. And last game I've been playing this week, very briefly, Halo Combat Evolved. Yes, the number one. I love this game so much. A buddy of mine got into Halo. He was looking for something kind of like a palate cleanser to play, something different. He never had an Xbox growing up. And so he got through 8 missions by himself, and he's like, it's all right. And I'm like, no. Halo Combat Evolved is amazing. It's my favorite one for those who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I love this game so much.
So good.
What he was doing, though, is running through it by himself. Now, he didn't have the benefit of like growing up with it like we did, where I could run through Combat Evolved by myself and appreciate it and love it for all it's done for the series. So I was like, okay, let me hop in with you. Let me give you the co-op experience, right? 119 gigabytes later, I'm in. It's good to be back, man. Again, if I could thank Halo Infinite for anything, it's really just reminded me how much I love this series. So I played the last 2 missions of the campaign, and I had a blast with it. And he really enjoyed himself. He's like, wait, co-op's the play. Like, this is so much more fun. I was like, yeah, man, like this is where, yeah. He was like, co-op. Yeah, right. I know. Isn't it crazy? 343.
With your friends and legendary different. Wow.
Good. Yeah. So he was like, this is the play. Like, this is so much fun. I'm having a lot of fun now. I'm loving this. He's like into the story more now. I'm like, yeah, man, like this is how it is. Like, this is what made the series really popular among, of course, it's multiplayer and Forge, but this is one of the key components to it. So I'm probably going to walk with him through the entire series. I just replayed the whole series at the beginning or at the end of last year. And he's interested in just chipping through it. So I was like, yeah, just let me know when you want to play and I'll hop in. So we finished up Combat Evolved together, and that was a great time. I love that campaign. I could replay that as many times as I need.
Classic, man. Classic, man.
So that's all I've been playing this week. Been a good catch-up week of games after a lot of work last week where I didn't play many games. It's been nice to really dive headfirst into everything that's coming out or that I was missing. Now we got some warm-up questions, Cog. First one comes from Craves Snow. Good day, Dukes. It seems Xbox has settled on different terms for exclusive that don't lead to confusion or questions. My question is about the console launch exclusive. What do you think about how they are using this? Is there still some intent to confuse casuals? Us in the know understand this means it's coming to PlayStation in about 3 months. Hope you have a spent $6.50 on a gallon kind of day. Yeah, man, it's been killer lately.
It's crazy.
Yeah, my friend Jimmy Champagne spent $120 on a tank of gas, man. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad right now. Now, I respect that, Graves. Yeah, it's this question, console launch exclusive. I still think, yeah, to us, we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what's going on. You know, the question is, does the casual truly understand? Like, does the casual walk away and say, oh, okay, that's coming to Xbox, so I got to get it on Xbox? That's the part I'm very curious about the data on that, because they keep using it, right? They keep using it. And to me, I chuckle, like, okay, whatever, console launch exclusive, world premiere, that kind of thing. I'm very curious about it. I actually don't know. I want to know more about it. If, there's a reason that they continue to do it, because the casual and that name association. I mean, we did hear, I know this is unrelated, but, we did hear about, what was it? The Wolong, I believe, right? Which is the exclusive. And then from my understanding, and again, I heard this is common practice, but them having like an embargo on 2 days before you can tell what other versions it's coming to, right? So these are the practices, right? These are the, I'm not justifying. I'm just saying, like, these are the practices a lot of these console makers
brand association
to keep brand association to make you think. And maybe the analytics say that the casual, the first 2 days, within the 48 hours, that's when it's the zeitgeist, and that's when they figure they could lock them in, and maybe that's why they continue to do it.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, timing is, of course, a luxury, and you don't want to wait for like high on life. You don't want to wait for that. We'll talk about that later in the show, but you don't want to wait 3 to 6 months for it to come to your console. And one thing that did impress me during the showcase was the amount of console launch exclusives that they just kept piling on. It's like, yeah, these may be in short windows, but it's adding value in a quantity to the platform because there's a ton of games that are launching exclusively, which we don't really say often about Xbox, in a small window of time once we hit the fall. And that'll be really fun. So I hope they continue to do this because I think it's a good balance, right? You get the exclusivity for those who are on your platform. It feels rewarding to be there. Obviously, the developer gets a bag, right? They get their money. They get to put their game out there. And then they have the benefit of bringing it to other platforms and kind of having those reviews on the Xbox speak for themselves, for better or for worse, and saying like, hey, PlayStation fans, now we're coming to you. Switch fans, we're coming to you. And I know staggered launches aren't exciting for consumers, but for developers, it's pretty exciting because they get to resell their game to you over and over at a full price. And it kind of feels like a relaunch. So I think in some instances, it's a little healthy for our industry to kind of have these staggered console launch exclusives because it doesn't wall people off for as long as, you look at what PlayStation's doing, which they're doing the right thing for their platform to protect their brand. Like they are locking up things like Final Fantasy long term. We know that there was a year contract, at least, for KOTOR remake, and there will be many more. So they're doing the right thing. It's just I like that Xbox is keeping that window short enough or long enough where it's value to me as someone who owns a Series X, but short enough where I can then be like, oh, go play Stalker 2 to someone on PlayStation and they can go enjoy that. So, I'm about it right now. I like how they're using it, and I hope it continues this way. I think it's a good, happy medium.
Yeah, good to watch.
Number 2 comes from James Hill. Hey, Matty-chan and Kag-senpai. With Xbox finally getting all their studios pumping out games and several being ready in 2023, I got to thinking Xbox should pull a Nintendo and hold on to completed games. The latest example of this is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It was announced and dated for September during the February Direct. Splatoon 3 needed more time to cook, so it swapped dates with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now Xenoblade is dropping at the end of July, 2 months earlier than first announced. It's also rumored a remake of Metroid Prime is 100% done and is being held until Prime 4 is shown off. That's been in the rumor mill for a while.
Long time, yeah.
Do you two want Xbox to hold on to games to have a more flexible release schedule, or would you prefer to have them be dropped when they're done and risk having a year to a year and a half drought? Have a Bethesda announcing Elder Scrolls 6 in 2018 and not releasing it until 2030 kind of day? I love this question because it really... We're looking right now at what I call the massive shotgun blast in 2023. And a lot of these games that may be coming that year are ones that we've been waiting since 2018 for. Do you really want to blow it all out in that year, or do you want to stagger it? So, Cog, I want to know your read. How are you feeling about Xbox's games in the pipeline, and if they should take the Nintendo route and start maybe putting some in the back pocket till it's time business-wise to capitalize?
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. That's going to be the dilemma they're in, because and it's a good dilemma. It's not even a problem. I think it's now, the chickens have come home to roost. Like now, things are going to happen. Things are ready to be lined up, and I think you can't have things, cannibalize each other. You have to give everything its proper due. There's going to be some things that can stay in proximity, like maybe we learned, like we were worried with Forza Horizon 5 or Halo Infinite, right? Even though we want a Halo Infinite delay, we were worried to see. But the analytics did show that they could coexist and launch based on the different type of genres, fairly proximity a month apart. Now, the content, that's another issue. We ain't going to get into that. But, as far as Halo Infinite content. But everything else from a perspective of Redfall, Starfield, Forza, just those three right there, right? And then they've got so much more stuff in addition to that, combined with the potential closing of the Activision Blizzard deal. Things are going to start to really stack on each other, and it's up to them to align them correctly. So I think there may be situations where, hey, what if, Avowed is ready, but maybe you now push it back out of 2023, I would hope. But, maybe they say, hey, we got this other thing and we want Avowed to get its proper shine. What if Hellblade is one of those other things? You don't know, right? So it's like that's where you can hold on to something a little bit. And if a team's not ready, or or the opposite, if a team's not ready, you say, okay, Vowed, you ready? All right, let's go. We could get in that spot right now. So I think that behind the scenes, you may see some things like that that'll come out after the fact.
Yeah, I was just taking a moment while you were speaking to kind of look up the things that they showed at the showcase in that graphic of what's coming in 2023. And I do remember Phil Spencer saying that they want to have one sizable exclusive per quarter, right? So 4 games a year. And right now we're lining up Redfall, Starfield, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, Aura History Untold, right? So that puts us at a pretty hefty amount. Then you've got timed ones like Flintlock, I would imagine. The Flintlock's Day 1 Game Pass. Stalker 2 is what I was looking at. And then you think of ones that we've speculated about, like an Avowed, like a Hellblade 2. And I wonder what gets pushed back. How do you line all of this up now? I mean, do you think they ever double up in a quarter? Do they seem that as necessary? I think, in today's day and age with delays, you have the ability to now with the lineup deliver quality stuff in a shorter window of revealing it. So if they have the ability to hold on to stuff, they could show off Avowed and be like, and it's out in 5 months. See you then. And they know it's ready to go because it's been ready. They just had other stuff coming out. So then you can also see games expand and improve upon. So I'm kind of for this, right? Because then you think of, that's where, tailoring back to the first question we had, with console launch exclusives and of course Day 1 Game Pass, you've got a frequency there, a cadence of launches with then in the middle of each quarter, like one big exclusive, like a Starfield or Redfall, so on and so forth. And I think it's sustainable because again, going back to one of my original points, you got to think that if you shoot out every game that was a part of the 2018 acquisition window and you have to restart that cycle, you'll end up in the same problem again, maybe by the end of 2024. And so it'll be a good time, but you kind of want to sustain what we're looking at, which could be a golden era for Xbox. I'm not trying to gas them up too much, Cog, but I'm curious if you agree. Like, I think with now the focus on Japan, with Day 1 Game Pass, console launch exclusive, a lot of cool games announced, and of course the big exclusives finally arriving, that 2023 could be the start of that era we've been waiting for. And you want to play it smart, right? You want to play the long game, because that's how I think PlayStation thrived, right? They just had something ready at most points in the year, on top of in the middle, like when you go back to like 2014, 15, like cool indies, right? Exclusively PS Plus games. It's looking like Xbox is taking that formula and taking their own innovation to it, of course, with like Game Pass and stuff. But I'm rambling at this point. It's just exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah. And we're forgetting the biggest elephant in the room. Diablo 4. Diablo's huge. They got that. They got to figure out when that drops, because you got to let Diablo eat. That's that. And here's the other thing, right? If the deal closes, you now slap a Game Pass logo on top of that. You want to make sure that gets a proper shine to eat. It hits every checkbox. Big, IP, multiplayer, or like engagement. You're really going for it. So you got
Game Pass game, yeah.
So if Diablo hits you, it's like, yo, we ready. Hey, maybe you moved up. You see what I'm saying? You moved them up. It's a fun problem to have.
It is.
I like them in that position as opposed to what we have to deal with this year.
Well, yeah, I think it'd be just awesome if we get into an industry where not everything's being pushed back, but you see, the last time we had a Xenoblade Chronicles situation here was, I think, the Evil Within got moved up a little bit. I know it was Evil Within, but I don't know if it was the first one or the second one, but it got moved up because it was ready. A couple of weeks. It was cool to see a date be like moved up a couple of months. So I would love to see more of that. Like, we're ready to go. We were just waiting for the other guy, but they need time, so we're going to go now. A more mobile, not literally in the gaming space, but more mobile gaming industry would be cool to see.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right to strike at a moment's notice.
Agreed.
All right, number 3 goes to Michael Lamaro. Hi, Dukes. Do you think Wolfenstein 3's development is going well? And when do you think we could expect a Wolfenstein game, given Wolfenstein 2 is almost 5 years old? Thanks to Game Pass, I finished the New Order and I'm now making my way through 2. These games are really fun and I'd like to hear your thoughts on them if you've played them. Thanks. So let's start off with, before we get into our thoughts on the game, this is one of our predictions, at least one of mine, I should say, which is I thought this would probably show up. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, but I thought, it's time to talk about whatever Machine Games is up to. This seemingly was in the oven for some time, and then you had Indiana Jones show up, and what's the priority here? We don't really have an answer, so Cog, we're shooting from the hip. How are you feeling about Wolfenstein 3?
Something feels weird. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, man. I felt like we should have. That's a great game. Shout out BJ Blackwell, like in the water. One of the most epic scenes in that messed me up. And I was like, oh, this game is doing this. How is the game going to continue? You know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. And it was, really cool. Really, really, really good story. I didn't play Youngblood because I was scared. I got to get to that. I heard, did you play Youngblood?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard things. I was like, I don't know if I want to damage the legacy with that one.
It's let's just say that the negative critical reception is not an exaggeration.
Oh, I don't want to see it like that. That's why I was like, I'm wait. It's in Game Pass, right?
Just go watch a summary on YouTube.
Oh, damn!
Yeah,
it's like that.
It's not good. It's just not a good.
It's not being like we gonna act like that ain't happening. That's like okay.
Yeah, I can almost promise you they'll act like it didn't happen. Yeah, I can almost promise you that game was not good.
It is. So we definitely looking for a mainline Wolfenstein. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The only reason why I'm a little off with this one is I just feel the Indiana Jones throws a monkey wrench into this.
Yeah, how couldn't it?
Because we didn't expect machine games. Todd said that. I didn't expect that because I'm thinking #just1 energy. Not saying that it can't, not saying the machine games is limited to it, but based on their pedigree, you would think they're some of the best FPS, 60 frames per second, rock solid, good shooting gunplay. I love that. I like when I used to go into the little crevices when you put that little thing on the device. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You sneak it. Like they have these cool mechanics in FPS games. So I'm like, machine games it's a feel to their games. So I just think that's the big project, and if Todd's behind it, and he nominated them, one would think. I don't know how big. Do you know how big the team size is? Maybe you can educate me there. Like,
I know it's. I'll double check. I think 150. Yeah. I'll double check.
Okay, so they're pretty big. I mean, maybe they can do two. Maybe they can, but that's what it is. I think the cloud, not the negative cloud, but what's going on with Indiana Jones is why I think we haven't gotten our Wolfenstein announcement or whatever at this point. So that's what I'm going.
156 according to LinkedIn.
That's big.
Just about on the money.
They should definitely be able to do two at one time.
That's not big enough though, where I think they could comfortably split projects.
Okay, you did. Okay, got it.
So I mean, something will have to become a priority, and I think that's what's happened here. And it's possible, just given how long it's been, that Wolfenstein 3 maybe got caught up in development hell, and they're like not sure what the direction of the franchise was, and that they had this opportunity to work on something else, and then maybe take those lessons learned, refresh, bring them to Wolfenstein 3. But then Machine Games is creating their own problem of their, thinking of where Bethesda Game Studios is at with Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Starfield, maybe, where it's like, well, now they might want another Indiana Jones game, and Indiana Jones could very well, as just a known property, be their biggest game yet compared to what they've done with Wolfenstein, which historically hasn't sold that great, as many Bethesda published games haven't. So I'm with you, Cog. I think that this is a monkey wrench that got thrown in there, and my guess would be they've decided to prioritize Indiana Jones. I think that would be just the logical choice at this point.
Yeah. And it's the big name, the seller, the pop culture energy. It could do something big for them. So I get it, and we see how passionate Todd is about this thing.
Yeah,
he's been sitting on it, and now he feels he's got the right team.
Yeah.
So I think you're onto something here.
Second part of Michael's question was if we played them, any thoughts on them? So I know you kind of said you like it, but anything in specifics you wanted to talk about?
No, just amazing gameplay. I just thought that New Order was like amazing to me. Like I really loved that game. Like I didn't think I was gonna like it the way I did. And the storytelling was fantastic. The mechanics, the abilities were great, and the characters. And I really felt the connection, and when something happened, which I'm not going to, it messed me up. I'm like, yo, what is this game doing? Like, it was graphic. I was like, oh, I'm really affected. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So things certain things dropped. I was just like, yo, this is crazy. But yeah, I love this series. It's just nothing better than shoot Nazis. So let's go.
Yeah, I love New Order, but like to me, I always thought New Colossus, the sequel, got a bad rap. To me, New Colossus was the one that Colossus, my bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, was that what you were talking about originally?
That's the one I'm talking about. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was thinking when you said drop, I was like, that sounds like Colossus, but
Colossus.
Okay, yeah. No problem, because New Order is fantastic, but a lot of people do crap on Colossus because of how much cutscenes and storytelling is in there, which I mean, I kind of like. I thought it was a great story. I was really about it, man.
When Colossus dropped.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love the drop. So
yeah, it was crazy.
It was a really good game. Shorter compared to New Order. New Order was definitely, I think, the superior gameplay experience and some of the mission variety. I'll just say this, man. This is just a teaser to get y'all to play this series if you haven't. You go to the moon. You go to a Nazi moon base, man. Come on. It's so good. It's so good. So give it a look if you haven't. But yeah, great series. Kind of one I wanted to replay for a while. All right. Sean Mason writes in, this one speaks to my soul. Greetings, Dukes. During the final week of school, today was our last day. Congratulations to you, Sean. I know you're a teacher.
Salute to Sean.
I asked some of my students who are into gaming, their thoughts about various showcases. To my surprise, the biggest highlight for the majority of them was High on Life. Rick and Morty is an incredibly popular show among middle-aged school children. Are we underestimating how popular this announcement was for Xbox? Could we see similar projects aimed to bring in others of the same age? Best Sean M. Now, I don't know what this says about me as someone who thinks this is one of the games of the show, but Cog, do you think this was a bigger deal than maybe we've given it credit for? Perhaps you, because I've been gassing this one up.
Bro, no, I'm calling you the prophet on this show right now. I've been touting your name on ILP a lot. I've been touting your name a lot because I think you are on to something. We, as the hardcore gamer, I think there is a disconnect, and I'm the first to admit it as an old grizzled veteran gamer. You know what I'm saying? There's a disconnect. We like what we like and we expect it in a certain format. And it's that these kids ain't playing that. These kids are going off the high end life. That's the generation you and before. They that's the stuff that excite them. And cool enough about me, I hang around enough young people to keep the energy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, this is what's popping in the street. These kids are outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that is what it is. And you know how I know? Because we, the hardcore community, there was a lot of complaints. 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 energy, Tuesday show energy. Okay, cool. But again, not saying Jeff Keighley represents everyone, but did you see his poll on the Xbox reaction? What did you feel, right? A's and B's, right? So when I look at that and I look at titles like High on Life, and we're talking about, Fall Guys comes to Xbox and all these unique titles. And that's the advantage of the diverse strategy approach with this Game Pass thing. Yeah. I tell people all the time, it's going to be a situation that some years is going to really hit for us hardcore gamers. Like, oh my God, Hellblade, Vow, yeah, bro, yeah, Starfield, we're outside, yeah, bro. And I get it. But there's going to be years like this where people be like, yo, High on Life was the game. The Case of Benedict is the game. What you know what I'm saying? And they're going to be like, these are the. And I see Nintendo guys like, yo, Xbox had a decent show, kind of things like that. So that goes to show you it's generational and it's for everybody. And I think, I think Sean is on it. To hear his students say that, obviously it's anecdotal, but it resonates. It resonates with a different generation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the game looks fantastic, and I do believe this will be a win for Xbox. The only thing I was worried about is it looked a little poor on the frame rate side of things. We'll see if they clean that up. But if they do, I think they got a winner here. I think it's going to be a standout game in this fall, especially when this fall window is looking not completely empty, but it's got a little more room for games to breathe like this one compared to usual. So one of the better surprises of the showcase, and hopefully it brings Xbox much success.
Yeah, I love the devs on the extended showcase as well. I had more of a flavor of it, and I really learned more about it.
Fifth and final question before we get into the news. Ghost Raid writes in, hey, Super Duke Bros, One of my somewhat guilty pleasures as of late has been to heavily mod Bethesda titles on my PC and Xbox, and it got me wondering if you see other developers under the Microsoft umbrella following Bethesda's footsteps and giving a similar level of support to a modding community. Bethesda has a strong staying power for plenty of their games through community support, allowing them to release weapons, bug fixes, and the entire expansion pack mods for their titles. Even on a small scale, I can see mod support for Halo Infinite's campaign and Forge or Gears of War's Horde mode, giving players endless reasons to come back. Thank you, and have a Mom Found the Skyrim nude mod folder kind of day.
Well, I'm gonna lead off with you. What do you think? Do you were you the modder? Were you the guy that sometimes?
Yeah. It was a while I was kind of resistant to modding just because I like the developers' intentional experience rather than like fan content. But as you go back and you want to play more in that world and you want new content, this is the best option. And you turn the corner in my case and you're like, this is amazing. Some people making content that's like better in the base game, and it just becomes a platform unto itself. And it's amazing because it's just everyone who loves the series enjoying that. Do I see other developers doing it? Like, yes and no. I think a lot of developers would like to, but this is why I say some people who don't follow Bethesda closely, it's clear as day, because they'll be like, get a new engine, start working on Unreal Engine. It's like the reason they stick with Creation Engine and the reason y'all are still writing articles about Skyrim to this day is because it's a heavily moddable engine. Without Creation Engine, I'm not saying mods would not exist for their games, but there's a reason why their games are so customizable and interactive, and fans can go crazy with their own projects to the point of making whole-on games within games. Like Fallout London's about to come out, Fallout 4 Capital Wasteland. The list goes on. Skywind, Skyblivion, like huge, expansive, multi-hundred people projects because of the engine. So for all its flaws, it's highly customizable, and that's what gives these games life. And Bethesda's very pro-modder. They hand out the tools. And one company that has thrived with that is CD Projekt Red. I think it's about developer intent. They were big about modding tools, giving their users the ability to add content to the game, and they've really done that. And so I think it's really about that. I think you can't help but look at Bethesda and now maybe Cyberpunk and go like, oh, okay, like there's clearly something here. I think there always was. Some of them less so than others. Like there are Witcher mods, but they're not on the level of something like Bethesda. And I think it'll be hard to reach that Bethesda level. But I think Ghost has some great ideas here with Halo Infinite. But I think Forge is where you're going to see that. There's been leaks about that where they're suggesting like you'll be able to create your own campaign missions even within there. And that's going to be amazing, right? There's apparently assets for things like snow missions, even though there's no snow inside the base game at all across multiplayer and single player, right? So they look to be making a very strong Forge mode, perhaps, that will give that game the legs it desperately needs. So I think that's one Xbox studio you can look at and say, like, they're learning maybe from Bethesda, but also the history really of the series more than anything. I imagine people are taking looks at it, but again, I think a lot of it's due to the engine. So I wouldn't expect suddenly developers to have a rapid turnaround. But Cog, what's your read on the situation, if anything at all?
I mean, obviously, it's not a community I'm not against it. It's just like, it's not something I've ever really indulged in, but I see the value to it, right? I see what you're saying, people making all type of mods after the fact, especially in the world you love, extending the fun and the replay value of a game. I think my mindset as to will other developers do it is probably leaning no, only because Xbox to me wants to control the environment on some level. And maybe this is how I see the only reason they can do it. If they can somehow get a piece of the pie of this monetization, you know what I'm saying? And somehow fit their way into the equation that you kind of got to go through them or something like that, then maybe PC I see more receptive to. But on one hand, it's like, are you going to give these features exclusively to PC and alienate a console base that may see that and may want it? And with console, it's more of a controlled environment, right? So do they want that level of freedom? Because we got to be honest too, there may be some potential security risk by letting people do that on the console side of things. And maybe that's maybe the trepidation. So it may be a case by case basis, depending on the type of game and if they can get some monetization
Mm-hmm.
involved. I'm just being honest. That's how companies think, man. They ain't
Yeah,
gonna let you
perhaps.
run around there and you ain't paying the toll.
Yeah, perhaps we'll see because they did open up Game Pass for more modding capability. So clearly, Xbox as a brand wants to encourage it. You'd hope that stays the plan and that they don't try to monetize something because even something such as Creation Club, which they're like, it's not paid mods. I'm like, you're really towing the line here. Like, as someone who's kind of pro Creation Club, not because of the content, but because of the modders it supports, like, you're really towing the line here. And it wasn't pretty. It was one of the most disliked things Bethesda's done in their company's history. So hopefully they're also taking note of that while taking note of the success of modding. There's a reason why it's successful. It's because they're given tools to make free content. And the company benefits because more people buy the game to have all those mods and endless content. So we'll see if anyone takes note of that. But I'm with Cog. I'm not expecting much from it.
Yeah.
Let's get into the news. This first one may surprise you because of the game we're talking about, but it also states how slow of a week it's been. But we always like to focus on Xbox first and foremost and their family of studios, or 2B studios. So let's talk about Forza Motorsport. Their creative director dropped a plethora of new details for the highly anticipated racing game set to arrive spring 2023, including an all-new career mode. There's multiplayer with a racing weekend structure featuring practice, qualifying, and final races, ray tracing during gameplay in real time, day and night cycles, as well as varying weather for all tracks. There are tires that have 8 contact points on the road compared to Forza Motorsport 7's singular contact point, so more reactive driving. It'll be running at 4K 60 FPS on Series X and 1080p 60 over on Series S. And they insist that the ray tracing is there and they do not want to mislead anyone, kind of hinting at what happened with Gran Turismo 7, where the ray tracing was only available in photo mode and the replays, but also because a lot of people thought Xbox was lying about things because what you saw at the showcase was on a PC. They put that in an editor's note.
Okay,
and,
I was going, okay.
Yeah, because a lot of articles were like, in a clear jab to Gran Turismo 7. I'm like, no. They saw the talk on the streets. They were defending themselves because things were about to get hot.
Yes.
So, Cog, how are you feeling not only about that situation, but what's going on with Forza Motorsport, which, while it may not be our cup of tea, one of Xbox's biggest games of 2023 for sure.
Yeah, look, we got to give it its flowers. And this is where I bend the knee to the LSM Forza community.
Look, if I could just cut you off for a second. They talk a good talk, but no one wrote in about this. So this is my choice to put this at number one. None of y'all had questions about it. So you guys just like to complain, but I'm hoping that you're listening. So sorry, Cog, please go on.
No. You're all fine. You're all fine. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? We give credit where credit. Look, I'm not going to sit here and fraud like I'm the hardcore simulator guy, and I can definitively say, that it's number one. But the consensus is when I speak to the people who do that every day, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy, Wondering Dutch, Forza Irwin, a lot of my guys over, my European gamers over there. They really play these games, man. Like, this is their Madden. Like, this is their, they waiting for the new, you know what I'm saying? And they tell me, like, no, this is it. And from my understanding, the community, the consensus is, no, motorsport is the game. That's the game. You know what I'm saying? That's the king of this thing right now. And look, I was blown away. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I sat there and I watched that conference, that showcase, and I'm like, man, this looks impressive. The day, the night cycles, the tires, when they show the reflection of the car next to the other car and to be honest, ray tracing is a thing that as a techie, I'm excited about. But when I saw how much resources that takes puts on a console, then part of me was like, the implementation is probably going to be very light this generation based on the resources. But then they're telling like, yo, it's ray tracing in game, because the trick was, we have ray tracing in photo mode, you know what I'm saying? Or only on the side when you look at the car still, and you know what I mean? But listen, whatever, I'm not a tech, I'm not going to do the digital foundry thing. I know there's a big controversy on what level of implementation of ray tracing, Carl. Is it truly this high power? Whatever version of it, the fact that it has it is impressive to me. Because I know, regardless to what, it's a resource hog, and it's doing these really cool features and next generation reflection kind of things. So I'm impressed. Look, we got to give Turn 10 their flowers. I met, I believe the gentleman's name, Greenblatt, I forget his name, the head, bearded guy, tall. I meet him every E3. Awesome. Now you can tell I'm not a Forza guy, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they've been doing this for a long time. They are the gold standard. And when I walked away from that, I said, yeah, they did it. It looks impressive. And look, it's a Game Pass. I got no excuse. I'll fire it up. Of course, I'll fire it up. Probably do like 2 races, go back to Horizons. You know what I'm saying? But I will try it because it really looks like a technical showpiece.
Yeah, I do. This may sound kind of surprising to some people, but when I first started giving this game shit, I was like, let me take a look before this show at Forza Motorsport 7. And I was especially interested in the career mode. And interestingly, I found myself more excited to try this one out than maybe how I was feeling about Horizon, because Horizon's very arcadey and open world. And to me, I would probably like choose like a Burnout game over Forza Horizon, because I love Burnout's like extreme nature, right? That's what I'm more so looking at, like extreme arcadey car crashes. Not that it's better than Horizon, but like that would be my type of arcadey style racer. But like Motorsport looks so technical and deep, like you can't floor it around corners, that I'm kind of interested in putting my hands on this one. I don't know if I'll like it. I don't know if I'll stick with it for a while, but I will say my anticipation and interest in this one is stronger than that of Horizon. And maybe it's because with Horizon, I know what to expect. With Motorsport, I remember I had a close friend, Noah. He was a former host of Ham Radio podcast. I'm talking like he's not around anymore. He is. But he played a lot of Forza Motorsport in high school. I remember cooking him up for it. Maybe that's where the hatred came from, because I was, I'd be like, let's play COD, let's play Halo. He's like, I'm playing Motorsport. The career mode's great. He started watching Top Gear. He started talking cars. And I was like, shut the fuck up, man. Give me a rest. But it did pull him in because he really liked the simulation aspect. He wanted to learn more. And with the high detail and the fidelity of this game, I could see those being factors. And I like a technical game, right? I like getting into the nitty gritty. So I'm like, you know what? Here in my late 20s now, let me give it a look, see what it's about. So I am interested in this one. Anything of the newly announced details stick out to you between the new career mode and what's going on here?
Career mode, I love, like, one of the things that Forza doesn't get enough credit for is the damage. Like when they hit the wall and you saw the scrapes and the deep, like, and let's be honest, like car manufacturers don't want to see their cars in any type of, negative. Like, so for them to trust, that shows you the respect and trust they have of Turn 10 to allow this to happen, because you guys are representing the sport right. So that's number one. I do want to see one thing. When I used to be in a simulation bag way back in the day, and I used to do like IndyCar racing games, Formula One racing games, one thing that I did like, and I want to know, I don't know if Forza has it in the LSM community. You guys correct me, because again, I am telling you, I am not a hardcore Forza, but it's a question. Pits. I actually like that aspect of racing. I always felt Pit gave a strategy, and I don't know if it's doing that, but I would hope at one point they kind of can implement it, because I feel like you're doing your laps and there's like, yo, man, I'm low on gas, I'm low on fuel, yo, we got to go in, change the time. And it may not be this type of game, but I always like that type of strategy. But for career mode, I will test it, because I want to know what's the loop. What's the loop? If there's no pits and none of that, fine. But what's the loop that's going to keep me in this? Because one thing that Gran Turismo used to do that I like was the licenses, stuff like that. I don't play Forza Motorsport like that. So I want to know if there's anything to the loop that the hardcore can, educate and say, yo, this is what they're doing this year. But besides that, it looks like just a phenomenal game. It just looks, it looks really cool looking. It looks the attention to and you know when I realized it? When they showed 7 and 8 side by side. I don't know if you saw those. Whoa, they showed the same track. I was like, yo, this looked completely different. Like, that is insane, the jump they made. Yeah.
So that's what's going on with Forza Motorsport. Set to arrive spring 2023. Maybe if they're trying to hit their quarterly games, Redfall, Forza, Starfield.
Yeah, hey. I mean, I don't know if I do all 3.
no, I'm sorry. I'm saying like Redfall in the beginning of the year, right? Like the winter window.
Let's go.
This is in the spring, and then Starfield in the summer, perhaps.
Oh, let's go. That's strong. That's strong for the top of the year.
Yeah. Nice little quarterly releases. So,
oh yeah.
Really exciting. Interested to learn more. And with that, let's move on to number 2. A little bit of a heartbreaker. Tony Hawk has revealed, for those who enjoyed the glorious Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake, some very sad news. We'll let him do the talking. Quote, "That was the plan, even up until the release date of 1 and 2. We were doing 3 and 4, and then Vicarious got kind of absorbed, and then they were looking for other developers, and then it was over. The truth of it is, Activision were trying to find somebody to do 3 and 4 as remakes, but they just didn't trust anyone the way they did Vicarious. So they took other pitches from studios like, what would you do with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater title? And they didn't like anything they heard. And then that was it. Who knows? Maybe when the dust settles, we'll figure it out. You never know. I never would have thought we were going to do 1 and 2 20 years later." End quote. Activision Blizzard announced January of 2021 that they plan to fold Vicarious Visions into Blizzard as a support studio and made good on that promise early this year in April. Dave Ramos writes in, "Hey Dukes, so the Birdman himself revealed Vicarious Visions planned on making Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake before being absorbed into Blizzard. How are you guys feeling about the likelihood of Phil Spencer undoing this decision and restarting work on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4? Also, with the Tony Hawk series having a legacy on other consoles, PlayStation especially, if this project is revived, do you see this coming to PlayStation and other consoles?" Cog, what's the read on this one, man? This is some heartbreaking news as they continue to fold studios into the Activision Blizzard machine. And now we have another casualty in the 3 and 4 remake for Tony Hawk, which was something people were really asking for after the phenomenal success, by the way, of the 1 and 2 remake.
Yeah, I was very surprised to hear this. And when he broke down what the reasoning was, and they had no one else to do it, they didn't feel comfortable with anyone else outside of Vicarious doing, but Vicarious got absorbed and folded into just a support studio. Like, don't get me started. Like, between Vicarious and High Moon, those are my heartbreaks. I love those teams. You know what I'm saying? And for different reasons, they made games that are highly beloved. They even, both of those teams even worked on Destiny content, some of the best Destiny content when Bungie was under the Activision umbrella. So yeah, the question is, can they undo that? I don't know. This is they're in a touchy situation with that acquisition, because not only now it's so much mess just to acquire them. Let's be honest, right? Just to acquire Activision Blizzard is a mess, right? The FTC, this one's on you. This, then we got to play nice. Oh, we're opening up card to everybody. So you got that. Then you get the finish line. You close the deal. Now you got to deal with the aftermath, right? Get studios folded in to just be card makers, right? Do we allow that freedom, right? I think they're in a tough position. They've got some critical decisions to make but now we hear I heard Bobby. Is Bobby coming back? Did you hear?
Oh, what?
Like, I saw something on my timeline. I don't know how much credence I want to give it. You know what I'm saying? But, until I get confirmation, I heard that he was reelected as CEO by the board. So I don't know if that.
I did see that. I'm assuming that that's just currently the standing now,
right?
And as Activision is still technically independent,
technically not acquired, right? So I'm not going to go crazy with
for
that,
another year. So next year when it's done.
See, which leads into what I'm talking about. So next year when it's done, then you still got to let that man contract whatever, and then go away and take his golden parachute, and there's maybe a window with that. Then after that, then you could go studios and say, okay, hey, what do you guys want to do? And then, so it's still, look, sadly, the short answer, I'm going to say, don't get your hopes up just yet. Don't get your hopes up. That may be a long way away. But the only thing that is saving it is Phil is a fan of a lot of these games and a lot of these studios that got absorbed. And that gives you hope is when you hear things like Call of Duty is not going to be annualized, and you hear things that, we want to bring back some of the old franchises. If that's the case, then Vicarious got to exist. High Moon got to exist, or a new form of it, and they rename it something else from the original teams. So that's my theory. Yeah,
it's tough to say because, they clearly don't want to go in and control any of these teams. We've seen countless examples of that. So part of me is really struggling to believe what Phil said when the announcement of the acquisition occurred, which is like, oh, we're going to let them do what they want. there's free reign there, and maybe they will choose to abandon Call of Duty. But let's be honest, that's a big thing they're paying for. They need to maintain that. How much manpower is required to maintain it now? Now that you've created this beast that requires Vicarious, that requires Beanox, et cetera, are you able to extract them and say, like, you can do something and still maintain the big fish that you paid for?
Absolutely. Good point.
And I look at something like Fallout, not to turn it into that, but I do look at something like that where they haven't really built confidence as a fan of a franchise that clearly needs support in new ways. I know it's kind of young in that partnership, where I think you're on the right track of like, hey, it's going to be a while, if anything. Where right now, like, it would make sense to me, make a new studio to handle Fallout or go do some remasters. And I'm still holding that hope on the latter. But my point being is, with some of the stuff that's been abandoned by Bethesda, they haven't really leapt in and done anything about that yet.
Yeah, good point.
So I don't know if I feel confident with Activision, if that'll be the same case. However, Activision's in more desperate need of restructuring.
True.
So maybe they do go more hands-on. We're all learning together. That's what's tough about this. We're all learning together. So it's effectively anyone's guess right now. I do hope they look at this, but you got to think other ones that, Crash, right? Spyro. There's great teams like Raven Software who make excellent first-person shooters. And they also are responsible for some of the best Marvel games. Do you just let them make their own IP at this point? Like, what do you do with them? Mm-hmm. They're an important Call of Duty studio now. Do they want to stay in Call of Duty? Do they feel passionate about that? Because they did the campaign for Cold War. And I mean, that was great. Again, I highly recommend that one. And provided they bring that to Game Pass, you'll hear me recommending it. Like, it's a really, really good story. I loved it. So do they want to stay there? That's the thing. We as gamers want something. But do we know these studios want the same thing? I imagine they want autonomy, creative autonomy.
Right.
You'd have to think so, but I don't want to assume too hard here. So, my faith is middling, in the middle here. I think it makes a lot of sense why they would undo some of the decisions Activision made, but what's happened with Bethesda hasn't encouraged me that that'll actually happen. His other question, though, is about if it does come back, does PlayStation get it?
Oh, sure. Tony Hawk.
I say yes.
You're probably right, but I would be a contrarian. I'll say, you know what? That may be one of the ones they go, we won't get too much flack if we get this.
This is old enough. People won't care.
We gave y'all card, damn it, and Overwatch and potentially Diablo. Like, you got the major. Remember, I think they used a slick terminology. It was like the major franchises or something like that.
Yeah, what is major?
Bro, that's political red tape. That's lawyer talk. Like, so to me, a lot of that things can be classified different things. They may say, oh, it's a good franchise, but Diablo and COD and Overwatch, those are we gave you that. I think there's going to be some that are going to get that Starfield treatment where it's like, no, you're not getting that. Like that's us, kind of thing. And I think something's gonna go. So I'll guess. I'll throw my hat in the ring and say, if they were to do a 3 or 4, they're gonna try to keep that.
I like where your head's at. Yeah, no, I think it's plausible with what you're saying here, which is like compared to everything they're giving up.
Right.
This would be a minimal damage. I don't know. It sold like 10 plus million copies. So there is demand for it, but
there's demand.
So that's why you lock it down if you can safely.
Some things got to be exclusive at some point.
Yeah, true. Something of note. Do you do that with Crash? Do you do that with Spyro? That's the other thing.
Crash gonna be interesting, bro.
Crash will be really interesting.
Crash gonna be it. Because I know for one thing, just the mere thought, I believe it was a big Twitter streets violence in the Twitter streets. I don't know if you saw this.
I'm shocked.
I know. Surprise, Twitter violence. Like, I think it was the minute the announcement happened. Eric Greenberg put Crash as his logo on his thing. He knew what he was doing. So I agree.
It's like Phil doing the Vault Boy. He knew how he was torturing my soul. Yeah,
they know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And look. You're most likely going to purchase it. You're the head of marketing. That's your job. Go have at it, right? So, that caused a bit of an uproar. People saw, Crash, the beloved Sony mascot, And there's a part of me that says they understand the symbolism of that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I told you about the symbolism of Kojima. Look what happened. They threw him right on that front. They didn't even care. The game ain't even ready. Get out there. Put on your Xbox jersey and tell them what you do.
You signed the contract.
Bro, we got you. Get out there and tell them what you're doing. So I think there's a symbolism to let people know. Crap, people could say fanboy was. It's marketing for something they control.
It's powerful, yeah.
And it's powerful. And you want the guys that are on the fence that love these franchises or love Kojima and love Crash to be like, oh, that's where I could play that? The new Crash is coming over there? Guess what I'm getting? It's all part of it's all part of the thing, man. So yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. I want to see what happens with Crash.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I come from the other side where with Activision, I'm not really expecting, I don't want to say I'm not expecting much, but I think Game Pass is going to be the big thing for this deal, right? Me being an old head, I'm just like, oh, what are you guys going to bring back and back and back? You got to get the old man back in for one last season and add some games in, right? Maybe we'll be disappointed with that, but that's what I'm looking to and what kind of content they add to Game Pass. Obviously, we know the day one stuff will be huge for them. So we'll see, but certainly the exclusive conversation will be feisty.
Of course.
It'll be feisty.
It always is.
Dude,
you see what Final Fantasy Remake just did.
That's the thing, man. Next summer showcase, I imagine, when they got a balance, I imagine the deal will be done. Activision, Bethesda, Xbox, everything ready. Oh, some of you calling this showcase an A+. I don't know about that, but next year's showcase, I look at, that's the one I'm like.
Me too.
I was expecting a home run. That's why I wasn't really thrilled with this showcase because I think they went a little soft for what is supposed to be the beginning of a new era. It felt like more of the same. Like, okay, we're waiting more cool looking stuff. But next year, when things are coming out, things are ready to go, deals done. We'll see what y'all are giving an A then. We'll see.
Yeah. And here's a question real quick. What do you call it? Do you still call it the Xbox and Bethesda showcase?
No, they got to
call it. What do you call the showcase?
It's got to be the Xbox showcase now. There's just too many Xbox, Bethesda, and Activision.
And Robert. Robert's back, y'all.
He's making all the announcements. That would be a Vince McMahon move. I don't know if you saw what's been happening with Vince McMahon, but and he's been coming on SmackDown and Raw, and he's like, we're in this together. And he just drops the mic and walks out. Like, that would literally be what Robert Kotick would do. He'd be like, and Crash is exclusive on Xbox, and just walks out and just lets the show roll.
That would be a media disaster.
Yeah.
Very Vince McMahon energy.
Yeah, hilarious. Big time. All right, number 3. A Final Fantasy renaissance is in full effect with both the excitement of the upcoming Final Fantasy games like 7's remake, 7 Remake's sequel, and 16, as well as the continued adoration of Square Enix's long-running MMO Final Fantasy XIV. There's never been a more clear indicator of the franchise's modern success than all of the earth-shattering announcements that occurred during a stream celebrating the original game's 25th anniversary. First, Final Fantasy VII Remake's sequel, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, has been announced for PlayStation 5 with a slated release date of winter 2023. With the first remake launching only in April of 2020 at the start of a pandemic, achieving this would be a staggering turnout rate for Square Enix. While that is far away and not coming to Xbox, Square does have a treat for all gamers in the form of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. It is a remaster of the 2007 PSP title featuring more voice acting, overhauled combat, new arrangements for the soundtrack, and much more. This is arriving much sooner during the winter of 2022. For something even closer, Square Enix confirmed that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming to Steam, and you can check that out now as it was originally only available on the Epic Game Store. Kaio Kano writes in, "Howdy boys, it's safe to say COG will be playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Day 1 on PS5. But what about Crisis Core Reunion? Is Square Enix playing the field, or is this something PlayStation let loose just for the chance to lure in more players for the Final Fantasy Re-trilogy? Cheers, and have a ending to Crisis Core kind of day."
Oh, that's foul, because I know that one. Wow, yeah. Whew.
Kai, where are you playing?
That's a good question. That is a good question.
You staying loyal to your PlayStation Nation?
You know what? I don't know yet. I don't know because it's so weird. It's like, because here's the thing. The reason why I don't want to commit just yet, I know Sony. They may have like some exclusive skin or something right around launch. Because they, even though it's coming up the Xbox, right? How messed up is it to play the core and then you can't play what comes after the? Let's not get into it. Let's not do it.
Oh, dude, anyway, PlayStation's playing 4D chess with this one.
Oh,
especially if Xbox does day one Game Pass, it just works in their favor. People are gonna be like,
"Oh, yo, you played it? You like it? You want more? You want more? Telling you, man, it's a dirty game, but I ain't mad. Listen, I respect the hustle. I don't get mad when Sony does it because I think it's great strategy. If you're looking from it pure business, it's just cutthroat, and you got to do what you got to do. So I ain't even mad at it. But look. I'm going to wait. My gut was like, yo, just play it on Xbox. You play there most time. Your achievements are there, that kind of thing, right? But there's a part of me that's like, yo, if there's some type of synergy or some type of exclusive deal or some type of thing that draws me, I might just stay over on PlayStation and just keep it over there. So that's what it is. I'm just going to wait until release once we find out more about the add-ons. And then the other thing, too, is let's just say they do some crazy collector's edition Sony thing that's old. Then that, bro... And you know how Sony do with the physical sometimes. And I have my Jin Sakai mat. Like, I wasn't playing. Like, bro, if it's I like you and I like it, I'm getting all the shirts, the gear, all the geek stuff. And, until Xbox show me it's going to be parity on that level too. That'll also be a factor. What about you? Where you getting?
I'd prefer to support it on Xbox personally, just because of all the mission statements I've made. But I'm much like you. If they're offering bonus stuff, I will betray my mission and go get the goodies.
You know how we get. Don't let it be no statues. I don't want to see Zach do it. Like, it's over, bro. Come on, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully, Xbox, if you're listening, you can work that marketing part out too, so that you get parity. Because then, if it's complete parity, that's my answer. Then yes, I will get the Xbox version to support it.
Right on. So the main thing that I'm sure a lot of people want to hear us sound off about is what's going on with Final Fantasy VII for Xbox fans, right? Everyone was thinking the Remake 1 would be here by now. They announced the sequel and stamped a nice PS5 logo at the end. They announced that there's going to be one more game in the trilogy after this. Cog, do you believe that 7 is going to make its way to Xbox? Because I'm going to say it now, it ain't happening until the trilogy is over.
That's how the game's played. It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game.
It's just too late now. That they announced the second game and they're just like, they haven't said anything. They're not going to give you the first game when the third game's coming out. It just doesn't make sense. Yep. It's not happening. I will be stunned. I'm not even upset. I'm just like, they've made it clear. Yeah.
Look, and Xbox fans, listen, this is the other thing I'm seeing on Twitter, and it's like, don't attack Xbox is trying to get that. Like, Xbox is trying, like, with the strides they've made, this is a contractual thing. Sony's on the post. They were already ahead of it. We don't know how the contracts are written. They're very aggressive with either extending it or locking it down. And that's all it is. Xbox is just at the mercy of whatever this contract is. That's all it is. Because put it this way. The fact that Crisis Core is on Xbox says all I need to know. It says Xbox is trying, because normally they wouldn't even get that. Let's be honest. Normally they'd be out the picture. They're getting it. So Square is the ultimate mercenary. They're the ultimate mercenary. Like, yo,
so funny with Zach.
Like the game.
Yep.
Sword for hire, right? Soldier. Cloud is he's a soldier for hire. That is literally Square's company mantra. Wherever's the bag is, what he says the Barrett all the time. As long as I get paid, and we're gonna finish this job in Midgar, and as long as we kill the reactor, as long as you're gonna pay me, right? Yeah. All right, cool. I'm done with you. He's Cloud. He's the physical representation. Cloud is Square Enix.
Yeah. No, literally. It's so funny you say that. Yeah, I just can't see it heading over. And like at this point, it should just be Xbox's mission to get everything but. Right? It should be everything but, just because if the only thing stopping you is contracts, then that's it. That's business. But if you have the option to get it and you haven't, that's a whole other problem. But if they've got Crisis Core, they're trying to get remake, and I just don't think it's going to happen, right? And it is what it is. Hopefully they can make Lost Odyssey 2 and make PlayStation fans wish they had an Xbox, maybe. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Look, man, you got to get the trilogy when it's all complete. And when Sony
it'll come once it's done.
Yeah, when Sony feels it's not relevant no more, then you get it. Welcome to that Destiny Taken King energy, that D1 energy that all us Xbox fans had to deal with at the time. It was rough. D2 came out. It's like, hey, here you go. The contract's over. Yeah. Go play the old system. What? And by it'll be a new Final Fantasy, the new hotness. And everybody like, oh yeah, we did that.
Dude, and the thing is it's not just 7, it's 16 is going to be exclusive, it would seem. Final Fantasy 14 is not on Xbox because of a, quote, shortage of resources, end quote. One of the biggest white lies of all time. They're trying to let Xbox fans down gently. Like, if we had more resources as we keep Square Enix afloat individually, we would make this Xbox version. It's clear PlayStation has wisely identified that after Final Fantasy 13 and its trilogy that did not make fans happy, 14 initially bombing, 15 showing out really strong at first, but its long-term conversation got sour, that they had a feeling things were about to get hot. Yeah. Obviously, not just a feeling, but they looked at the games and they're like, we want these things, right? Final Fantasy VII is so deeply tied to the original PlayStation. So it only makes sense with that, but now they're seeing with the series picking up steam, 14 with 16, they've wisely invested. And we can only hope Xbox is taking out the notebook, seeing what's going on here. Again, working to get every other game that's not contractually withheld from them onto the platform, building up Game Pass, building up xCloud, and eventually, we talked about this in DDU, working it backwards where I think the final step, maybe 2 years from now, start getting those exclusives like the 360 gen, right? Yeah. That's, I think, the answer. So I'm sorry to say, Xbox fans, Cog and I stand in unison. We ain't getting Final Fantasy VII.
Go get your PlayStation. And if you really want to play the game.
If they do it just would completely, again, surprise me. I just it just feels like the timing has now, with the sequel being revealed and it's only showing PlayStation, has completely, it's no longer another opportunity to announce it.
Yeah, the last chance we thought, if it wasn't on the Xbox stage, the announcement, the last chance was this 25th anniversary event. And once I saw that single logo, that was the statement I needed to see. Yep. They are keeping that association. And, salute to them. That's what you're supposed to do. It's warfare, man.
It's warfare. I love that. Number 4, Dragon's Dogma 2 is real. On the game's 10th anniversary, it was confirmed during a celebratory stream by the game's director, Hideaki Itsuno. He also said that they'll be sharing more details on the game in the future. But for now, all they can say is they will be using the RE engine to create this game, which you have seen in action for both Monster Hunter and Resident Evil games recently. Cog, are you, I can't see you playing it, but are you a Dragon's Dogma guy at all?
No, you was the one that put me on, right? You was like, yo, that joint look fire. I was like, I'm in this new one. Yeah. I was like, whatever's going on, I'm in. I like what I saw. So yeah, you've got me. Shout out to my boy Kaibatsu. He's a huge Dragon's Dogma fan. He's always been telling me about Dragon's Dogma. But yeah, once I saw this too, oh no. We are in. I want to learn all about this. I want a part of this. So I'm in. Yeah. You ain't got a Danganronpa force me.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is great. I talked about it a lot. I think that, because I remember the mechanic I got you interested in was the pawn system where you could upload your companion to the cloud. And,
I like that.
Yeah, they would see things in the open world and they'd make remarks about it and you could get other people's pawns. It's so cool. I am so thrilled to see this be real. The announcement, a little soft because not only did they have nothing to show, but they had an opportunity at the Capcom showcase and to show it off. And instead, during the Capcom showcase, they're like, we're having this stream on this day. And people are like, okay. And then they announce it there. And you're like, okay, dude, sure. Why not? Why not, I guess, on the exact anniversary, I suppose, days later. But it's real. It's happening. I think it's quite exciting. And it's one that I highly recommend people pay close attention to. I imagine we will see it this year, probably a 2023 launch. But this was a game that was on the NVIDIA GeForce Now leak list.
One of the greatest leaks of all time.
Dude, it just keeps delivering. It keeps delivering. There's games on that list that also look great. And it's just remember when they tried to say that this was going to be a fake? They were just like, It's not true.
Not true.
Yeah. I mean, what else are they going to say, right? But just, it's so funny now looking at it. The amount of games that have been confirmed, they're like, no. It's just a coincidence. These just happen to be all announced within a year.
I get it. Gotta save face, but this is the blueprint. This is the Bible right now. Everything is coming to pass.
I've revisited after like every confirmation. I'm like, what's we got in here, right? I just keep going back to it. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. I believe on that it said it was like a 2022 game. I don't think that's going to hold true, but they had a choice back in 2019. They revealed between doing Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma 2. They went with DMC5. So it seemed like this was obviously already the next step for them. And the RE engine continuing to show its flexibility. Very impressed by it. You know, they did Monster Hunter games, which there are some similarities between Monster Hunter and Dragon's Dogma, but Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, and now we're going to see Dragon's Dogma on it, which presumably will be an open world game with a lot of ambitious AI. Is going to be really, really nice to see. So I'm excited. Not much else to talk about there unless you had thoughts on it.
No, it's your baby, but I'm in.
Hell yeah. All right, number 5, coming soon to Xbox Game Pass. June 21st, day 1, you get Shadowrun Trilogy on cloud and console. There's also Total War 3 Kingdoms on PC Game Pass. Then June 23rd, FIFA via EA Play, FIFA 22, comes to console and PC Game Pass. And as Cog had mentioned, June 23rd, you also get Naraka Blade Point, cloud, console, and PC. July 1st, Far Cry 5, cloud, console, and PC. Yeah, Far Cry 5 can get a thumbs up for me. It's still like a Ubisoft game, but I said this in my video about it. Have you beat this game?
No, I'm waiting for this. I was buying it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I knew when some place going to come.
Yeah. This ending is insane.
Really?
It is one of the craziest endings I've seen in a video game. No exaggeration.
Okay.
It is like, I would argue in some sense it's worth the ride because it's just so fucking insane to me. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah.
Giancarlo was outside? He was okay.
No, Giancarlo was inside. He was making Far Cry 6 and that was not a good game. But Far Cry 5, at least it had some redeeming qualities, even if it was just the Ubisoft game. There were some things about it I did enjoy. But yeah, that's all coming to Xbox Game Pass. Quantity or quality over quantity, it would seem. Anything here besides Naraka Blade Point catching your eye?
Yeah, Far Cry, of course. Shadowrun, there's a lot of history there. And then Total War's a big get. I know. Yeah, that's a big get. I know it's PC, Xbox, the console goes, you brewed into it. Yeah. Listen, we know how the strategy and RTS go. You're going to have to wait. You know how that go with the ports. We know. But this is actually a pretty solid week. And, FIFA, like, it's actually a pretty solid one.
Yeah, I agree completely. Not a ton of games, but they've just added a bunch of games recently. So the list is going to be a little lighter here. But I like what I see. Definitely interested in Shadowrun. But with everything else coming out now, I don't think I'll get to any of these games, but definitely an appealing list for sure.
Absolutely.
Number 6, our final beat on the news report. Tom Henderson has reported that EA is set to reveal Skate sometime in July. So for those of you who are upset about what's going on with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 Remake, do have some type of skateboarding content to look forward to. This was announced, I thought, way too early, but are you excited to see more of this game?
I actually am. One of the team members that we know, the Lords know personally, I believe Dan McCullough, he went over there to EA. He was a former Xbox Live Network admin. He was the guy that ran Xbox Live and went and he chased his dream to make a game. So yeah, he's part of that team. I think he's heading it, I believe. So I'm very curious. It was one of those, I think a lot of times, a lot of these guys in different aspects of development or hardware or infrastructure, they do have that dream to still make a game. And this is one of those joints. So I got to support, man. I got to see what he's doing. I want to see what flavor he brings to it. Shout out to Tom Henderson, who broke the news or whatever. Yeah. I've been getting some tea leaves for him. He was on ILP chat. So salute to him. He actually gave us some
nice.
props. Yeah, very cool. I was like, wow, I didn't know. You'd be surprised who listens to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was really cool. But yeah, now this one I got to support.
You learn that with the Twitter follows. Like after Defining Duke episodes go live and you see who follows you, you're like, oh, you listen.
Yeah, bro, same thing. I was like, Gene Park, I want to shout him out too. It's another one like, yo, like I had no idea. You know, it's like, it's so cool to be able to converse with people like that.
Yeah, for sure.
To support what we're doing.
For sure. Yeah, I'm excited to see this game. The first Skate just holds such a special place in my heart. Played it so much. So I know I'm of the unpopular opinion that I love the traditional, like, closed-in camera, kind of like intimate skateboarding experience.
Okay.
No getting off your board, just tricks and skate films. And I like getting sponsors. I loved that whole game, man, from top to bottom. The open world feel of, it felt like the environment was very believable too. Like, you know, this is a city, but you can skateboard within it rather than like in every other skateboarding game ever made where they're like, this convenient ramp that's set up here will let you launch off over a river if you go fast enough. It's like, okay. So I'm hoping they go back to their roots, but I know a lot of people love Skate 2 and 3 way more. So fingers crossed we just see something great.
Nice. Yeah, definitely, man. I support that. Got to support Dan. We've had him on ILP before, and now what I was looking right now, he's the VP and GM of Full Circle, working on Skate.
Ooh, that's a big step up from Xbox Live.
You see, we might make a call. See if we get him.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know you was a big skate guy like that.
Oh, dude, yeah. I used to skateboard all the time. Yeah,
it was Cog make some calls.
That was my thing. Yeah,
do a little ultimate action.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many people have yet to set things up with us. You know, we have so many.
We gotta finalize. Yeah, we got to finalize.
No, it's not even us finalizing. It's people finalizing back with us. Yeah, it's insane. Like the amount of games or conversations we've been trying to have with people that are like, yeah, we're interested. It's just like, I think there's like 6 now of people just like hanging in limbo. It's like, will we get them on? We shall find out, but we don't want to tease too much because
no doubt.
I'm sure a lot of them will fall through. Okay.
No doubt.
Game Pass and Back and Pat pick of the week.
I'm just going to mute my mic. And so here we go. Here we go. Let's get it.
There was a game. There was a game that was omitted from my what we're playing section because had to talk about it here, about the must download experience of the week on Game Pass. It's TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Of course it is. So not only have I willed this game into Game Pass on my very own, stamping the yes, definitely this will be at the show and it's got to be a part of Game Pass. The green and green just makes too much sense. The 6-player co-op action just reeks of Game Pass. The Dotemu partnership with Streets of Rage, it's all there. So yeah, this is willed into existence and it's everything you could have hoped for and more. To all my TMNT arcade fans out there, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. I have the arcade. Yeah, right. Throw them at the screen. I have the arcade booth out in the hallway. You can't see it, unfortunately.
Legendary. I have so much respect for you for that.
Oh, dude. I love it. So it's got the 87 arcade game. It's got Turtles in Time. And Turtles in Time is one of my most replayed games ever. That's not saying much. It's a like 45-minute to hour video game. But I used to always go over to my friend's house after school and we would just run it through over and over and over. I love Turtles in Time, man. Sorry, what's up?
Favorite turtle, sir?
Raphael.
Oh, you're a ref, man.
Yes. Okay. What about you?
High power rating. Donatello, man.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Intellect. You're the calmer thinker of the two of us. Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. I like Raphael.
Yeah. So of course I picked him when playing Shredder's Revenge, and this is literally the Turtles in Time sequel that we have been waiting for, the spiritual successor, if you will, that we've been waiting for a while. It's an excellent arcade beat 'em up, 16 missions, takes you about 2 to 3 hours to run through the game. Not too bad, but there's a lot of replayability in here. Of course, just the music bopping to that while you're beating up baddies is already good on its own, right? It's a fun arcade beat 'em up experience just on that alone. But there's a progression system, a light one, if you will, that as you complete objectives and you beat up baddies, you get points and you unlock new moves as you go through the game. So different types of super attacks and things you can do with the environment. Really fun, cool stuff there. But Cog, just as a TMNT fan, I cannot emphasize on the gaming front how ungodly starved we have been for something just good, by the way, let alone amazing like Shredder's Revenge, right? Like we've got the 2012 show with its tie-in games with Secret of the Ooze. We got games that I thought were ambitious that I liked, but clearly didn't nail it, like TMNT Out of the Shadows. You got these tie-in movie games like the 07 movie. The list goes on. You got Mutants in Manhattan, one that fucking burned me so bad. I've played that game 4 times just because like I can't accept it still. That Platinum Games did this. Platinum Games, man. It was a perfect match of Platinum Games and TMNT, and they fucked it up. So there's a lot of baggage coming into this game, right? It's a bigger deal than y'all realize that they nailed it, that they got a really good game here. Wu-Tang Clan has appeared, Cog. How are you feeling about that?
That track, that Ray and Ghost joint. When you said it to me, I was like, it's on. Listen, man, they're hitting all the feels, all the right, but like literally when that joint fired up and it was the cartoon intro and the song hits and I'm singing and like I literally was transported back to my youth. I'm like, this is why I love this thing. You know dude. It's the journey. I mean, little things too. Like I remember the NES version. It didn't have the co-op. It was a completely different port. It was not no Turtles in Time. It was so but like they would have an overhead map with the turtle van and yes. So I was like, it was just
I didn't make that connection. Oh yeah,
bro,
good call.
The little nuances, the attention to detail, and then you throw it on. And then I'm gonna be honest, like, you know, one thing as a Streets of Rage guy, like shout out to first, let me give the Temple these flowers on a technical level. Because as much as I love Streets of Rage 4, Streets of Rage 4 is amazing. One of the best soundtracks. They brought the Legend Yuzo Kazuro back. They had the new guys, right? But one of the things I had upset was, I was like, fam, how y'all going to debut a 4-player mode? But you ain't got no online 4-player mode. You know what I'm saying? So when I looked at terms, I'm like, if are they going to have that same networking energy?
Yeah.
And then not only did they did 4, they did 6. And I'm like, oh my God. Then I got to call them out again because I got to play fair. One of the other problems I had with Streets of Rage 4 was, remember, we always on PC Game Pass neck. PC Game Pass, you ain't been playing right. You've been living foul. You've been advertising things that ain't true. Because I had the PC game. Shout out to my boy Ainsley Bowden of Season Gaming, who Colin was a good friend of mine, and I had him go on. Colin interviewed him. They did a show on Sacred Symbols today. Colin really likes him too. Nice. And like we had him on, and we're Streets of Rage guys, Sega kids, right? So we like, yo, and at the time I was on PC, so I was like, yo, I'm on PC, you on Xbox, let's do the Game Pass PC crossplay. Bruh, we couldn't even get this thing to work. We couldn't get a match on Streets of Rage. So immediately, the first thing I did, call my boy PD, shout out to Snaldo TV, lordsofgaming.net. Said, PD, you on PC? Yes, because he's a master race guy. He just not a console guy. He's a Turtles guy, right? So he's like, all right, cool. I jump on Xbox. Seamless.
Yes, sir.
Fixed it. I'm like, this is the marriage from PC Game Pass I'm expecting all across the board. Yeah. No hitches, seamless. We're playing and we're just having a raw, man. They did it. Like on every level. I just like the fact that they could run. The turtles can run and do I'm like, this is so hot. I can move around.
Yeah, you can sprint.
Listen. I can't wait. We got to stream with the Lords. I got to promo a little bit. Reason why I didn't go hard, I know you probably beat it.
Oh, of course.
Saturday.
I beat it 3 times already.
I love it. Because Saturday, I believe, we go Saturday afternoon. We're gonna do all the Lords. We're gonna try to do the 6-player joint,
nice.
Stream it on the channel. Get ready. Because that's the reason why I'm like, damn, I want to play. I want to beat this. Stop. You know what I'm saying?
You're holding yourself back. Yeah,
holding myself back. But I was getting my Donatello flow. But continue this game. Yeah, they did it, man.
Yeah,
great game. Basket. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's funny. I just came hot off of saying I think Sniper Elite 5 was like the best third-party day one drop they've had. Now they got another one. It's been a really good run for them. This is a perfect marriage of everything you could ask for, I think, in a Game Pass game, right? Like the revival of a long demanded IP, high quality game, popular IP, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Well known.
Very popular.
Yeah, right. Something people absolutely at its fair price of $25 would be willing to pay for. Really making crossplay is exclusive with Xbox and PC, by the way. PlayStation and Nintendo don't have that. I kind of was upset to hear that because I want them to experience that. I think it's like, it's 6 players, man. If everyone just had it everywhere, that'd be cool.
Like I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, but it just shows that I think that was one of probably the key pieces to this deal happening was like crossplay, right? Because it's cross progression too. Like I tried it on PC for a playthrough. Loaded up on my Xbox for a playthrough. My progress was there for Raphael. He was level 10.
Nice.
So yeah, that's there. And I think that was a leading reason for the deal happening.
Yeah, probably so. Last thing I want to say, I want to give the Tim their flowers because, it takes a lot for these companies to trust beloved franchise with historic, the lineage, the history, to trust them to do this game. Right. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Sega, to trust to make it an official sequel. This is the spiritual sequel to Turtles in Time on every level.
It absolutely
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it. They did that, man. I'm so proud of that team. I've interviewed a lot of those guys. Mm-hmm. And what you're going to like about them when you interview, they're truly passionate. They played those old games.
Oh, you can tell. You can tell this is a studio of Turtle fans because I feel as a hardcore TMNT fan, I would only catch this is when you pick Raphael, not only do they bring back the original 90s voice actors for a lot of these characters, but when you pick Raphael, he goes, "What now, fearless leader?" And it's like such a nice callback to the first TMNT live action movie that I don't think is really an iconic line. Maybe it is for other people. I didn't register as an iconic line. For me, as someone who's watched that movie dozens of times, like, our fearless leader, that always comes back to me. So I'm like, oh my God, they did it. So the amount of fan service, the amount of pixel art, by the way, is a huge pixel art fan. Like, there's just so many different things happening. You got to remember, this isn't like on a 3D game level where you have like an animation skeleton set and you can just attach it to a model. Not that it's that simple, but with pixel art, everything's got to be hand drawn. Everything's got to be individualized. So the foot ninja laying on the bench, the monkey asleep on the rock with the banana peel on his head, the one on Coney Island where like the foot ninja's dancing behind the. They just had so much fun with it. You could tell that they didn't put a date on it until it was ready because they kept adding personality to every level. No repeated backgrounds. There's just so much love poured into this game. It's excellent. One of the best Game Pass games to date, if not the best, but that is my fanship speaking. But this is a 700 megabyte download. If you have not played it, give it a rip at least. It's a wonderful time.
So much fun.
On that other note, we have Adam Johnson writing in with a separate Game Pass pick of the week. Hello, you beautiful Duke boys. I have a recommendation for a Game Pass pick of the week. After watching the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, one game's art style caught my eye. That game was Obsidian's Pentiment, and its 2D painting aesthetic got me thinking about another game I had seen but tried on Game Pass, The Procession to Calvary. I downloaded it, and to my surprise, it is a very funny point-and-click game straight out of Terry Gilliam Monty Python sketch. It's not a very long game. It took me about 4 hours to finish, so it respects your time. It also has some of the best comedy writing I've seen in a game in a long time, and it works especially if you can imagine the Monty Python cast doing the lines of dialogue. This is another case of, if it were not for Game Pass, I would have never given this game a second glance. And it's been one of my favorite games I've played this year so far. I just got an achievement for spanking a bishop kind of day. So yeah, just for all you Pentiment fans, give it a look. You're looking at it now?
I'm looking at it. It does look very Monty Python energy. It looks hilarious. I can tell this game is funny. Like, there's certain things about it that I can tell. Look, I'm warming up. I was in my emotional feelings of what I envision Pentiment to be. But look, man, I know it's going to be good. And at the end, you know what? The also game kind of throws me into that vibe that I completely, not that I misjudge it, but when people told me about it, it was good. And I wanted to make a Game Pass of picking them up, but I think you guys did it during the Carrick era already, which is Yes, Your Grace. Where it's this
I think I did that, yeah.
Yeah, bro, I love that game. That game is amazing. It is so well written, so underrated, so much depth to it. Then you just think it's some simple point and click joint. So like that's why I said I'm gonna fall back on going in on Panda because I know it's gonna be great with Sawyer behind it. That was all. But yeah, these games have a place, and when you give them a shot, man, you see the magic behind it. But yeah, shout out to Adam. That looks good. I had to check that out. I didn't know about Procession to Cavalry, and I'll definitely check it out.
I'm looking at it now. Not in love with the art style.
You don't like Mighty Python? You don't like that energy?
Pentiment. Come on.
Pentiment. Okay, you on his Pentiment.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, 5 final questions to wrap up the show. Pen and Pant writes, Shalom Dukes. I recently started playing Persona 4 Golden on my Vita, and I'm loving it. I blew through the castle dungeon so fast I didn't realize an hour passed. Do you think we'll get physical copies of recently announced Persona games? What do you predict will be the next big JRPG on Xbox? My Croc influence has spread and will reach everybody soon kind of day. Yeah, Pen and Pant's been fighting for the Crocs, and he's reached king, it seems.
Yeah, the Croc contingent is getting a little too loud for my liking.
Yeah.
Shout out to Persona. Physical copy? I don't think so. I don't know. Not that I don't want it. I just older game, like if it's Persona 6, you know what I'm saying? And then they announce it, then we'll see. But I don't know if we're gonna get those because those are older. Those are straight into a service. You know what I mean? It's like so I personally can't see it. Then to his question, the next big JRPG. Ooh, are we in line for another Dragon's Quest yet, or is it too soon?
Dragon Quest, I think they said it'd be a while for Dragon Quest 12.
Yeah, I feel like the last one came out. I don't know.
Let me look this up real quick. Sorry. Go on.
You're good. No, I just think that I don't know what the next big JRPG as far as on Xbox, but the point I'll make is it better debut at the same time as everybody else. That's the key to this whole thing, because to me, the investment in a Persona series shows that you want the franchise, you want the lineage to be associated with your console. And if that is the case, when the new iteration comes out, you better be there day one. Even if it's not on Game Pass, you better be there day one. You cannot have no 6 months later and then you're part of it. No. And I think, to be honest, I'm not worried about it. I think it does, unless your name is not Final Fantasy VII Remake. Mm-hmm. I think for the most part, we're in a new era with Xbox, which we said at Defining Duke Ultimate. I think that is literally what's happening here. They're setting a line in the sand. We're in this JRPG back.
Yeah, on the physical game front, I was trying to find it. I could have sworn I saw something about the PS5 version getting a physical copy. I don't know about Xbox though. With day one Game Pass, maybe it's not a priority for them. Wasn't a priority for them with Halo, so clearly I'm not expecting much with Persona 5. I hope so though. I think it'd be really cool to just see that, have that, be able to buy that. So I think it's going to happen because it is in a way like a re-release for current consoles, and they're doing it for Switch as well. So I think it's pretty important they put this back on store shelves and print some copies for these new systems to let people know it exists there. But we will see. I'm pretty sure it's happening though. As for the next big JRPG, I mean, let's stay in line with the conversation. I'm just going to, I mentioned on DDU, like, I want to believe. But if I were to put my finger on like the big one, it's like Persona 6, right? Like, yeah, like I feel like it may not be the sexiest pick. Like you might be already expecting it. Some of you may be more confident in me. But to me, that's the one I'm like, have we set the standard? Or are we just catching up? And I would love to see 6 be day one on Xbox, right? Not Game Pass. That'd be cool too. But like just their day one alongside everyone else. That's what I'm hoping for moving forward. So to me, I'm hoping one day they'll just wipe away that question mark of like, can we expect it there day one and move that forward into the next era, which is like, will they do Game Pass? Like maybe Soul Hackers 2, putting that up in the ether. Got to remind people of that bold pick. There's still some time, right? They're still working on it.
Let's go, man.
Jamie Anderson's our next write-in. Question for the lads. Am I jaded or is current gaming just not hitting like it used to a few years ago? Everything feels so safe and boring. And if it's not that, it's trying to take my money with battle passes. I am at the point, if 2023 doesn't bring me out of this rut, I might have to think about taking a long break to refresh. Have a keep getting hyped for months only for it to be delayed with no release date kind of day. Is Jamie jaded? And it's funny because in this question thread, we also have one about, you know, the positivity of gaming, our favorite year. So it's going to be a fun stretch of conversations here. But what do you think? Is it a bad gaming climate currently?
I don't know if it's a bad gaming climate. It goes back to my earlier statement. I don't know. Shout out to Jamie. I love this question. I don't know his age. I don't know, but I know how I'm feeling. And I do have my grizzled, grumpy, one of those again. Another open world. Here come another battle run. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do get in that mix. And I'm gonna be honest, what saves me though, this is why I go to the PAXs, the E3s, the GCX, is the indie scene. Indie scene shows me, this is where it's at. These guys got their pulse on the finger of what's going on. Even the cops agree. What happened is they're like, talk that talk, indies. They gonna go cop some indies right now while they put out the plan. But yeah, like the thing about it is that you see the risks, you see the creativity. They set the trends. They're doing the new things. You're like, oh my God, your game has this, and you're doing that. That's what, and then what ends up happening is when they catch fire, then the big boys copy, you know what I'm saying, after they get signed, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. So that's what I would say. Give more indies a shot. You'll be surprised, man. You'll be surprised. A lot of different games. There's a game I want to give a shout out. I don't know if I ever shot it out on Duke. And you know how I like turn-based and all that, but this is more of a management. There was a game that I used to go crazy. Oh, shout out to Mama Mike. She loves it too. The only person I ever heard mention this game, and I thought I was alone. It's called This Is the Police. This game is a wild written game. It was like a cop management thing, but it was absolutely hilarious and some of the most boldest choices. And you are this corrupt cop who's getting squeezed by the mob, and like, you got to make tough decisions, and you try to play both sides, but then you're not trying to go to jail, and you're not trying to get killed by pissing off the mobsters that you in bed with. That, bro, it's crazy. Love the game, but again, these are the type of games that you're not going to see on the mainstream like that, right? You're not going to see in the AAA space because the money, and they want to make definite investment. So yeah, that's what I would say, Jamie. Start giving these indie games a shot. You'd be surprised, man. That's where it's at to me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was thinking about, what I'm playing now after reading this question by Jamie. And I realized that, I really have been playing a lot of JRPGs lately. And I'm like, I wonder why. I'm like, I've said I'm on a kick, but I think it's because, outside of the indies, I feel like Japanese gaming culture has felt still lively, inventive, not overly safe. Every JRPG I've played in the last 12 months has felt entirely different. Like whether it's big ones like Tales of Arise, really shooting for the stars with a brand new engine, or something much smaller like Trails from Zero. It's like, there's so many different pockets and they're inspired in different ways that I could feel them in those projects. And the indies, I mean, we just raved about one. As TMNT is a big name, that's an indie studio, Tribute Games, who developed that. It's a small team. So I really feel like, I'm completely aligned with you, Cog, that there are some gripes. I don't like that physical games are kind of fading out. I'm a little more up on games just because in some ways I think like now's a great time to be gaming. I think with Game Pass, I think about when I'm a kid, when I'm in high school, no money at all.
Well, talk that talk.
And you had something like Game Pass that's just feeding new-ish games for a while, let alone now new games. I mean, I'd be all over that. I am all over it, but I'm saying like that. I don't lose that perspective of, now I'm fortunate enough where like I've made a living off of this. And I can go out and buy my games and play what I want. But this time I couldn't. And I just feel like I don't want to lose in the picture of a great luxury why gaming is also great. And there's very frustrating aspects of it with the NFTs. And that's where I get sour. NFTs, this metaverse stuff. Not
Not your bag.
not
I
feeling
respect
it.
it.
And it
I
it
respect
can
it.
exist if it wants to, but if it starts to overtake the creatives that I care about, that's
Yeah,
where I
you're
would
not with
get
that.
Jamie energy and be like, nah, I'm okay. I'm going
I
out for a
feel you.
little bit.
I feel you. I feel you.
So, that's why I've really enjoyed these JRPGs and indies as of late. And usually, as many people know my taste, like I'm a Western RPG guy. Like I'm playing the BioWare games, I'm playing the Bethesda games, and I'm playing everything pretty much outside of puzzle games. But you get my point of like what I'm gravitating towards, generally speaking. But I've sort of faded into more of the creative bag. And I'll just say this, not to ramble. This is the last part of it all, but working on a game, I guess I like to.
Mhm.
I feel more interested in seeing, how creative people get, and now having my hands a lot on a video game engine, knowing what I know and looking at what they've done, and kind of reading between the lines a little bit on like how they maybe accomplish something, going like, oh, that's really cool. Like, and it just makes me appreciate games more as a medium. So that's my personal experience. But I don't think your jaded behavior is wrong, Jamie. But I think there's some positivities here. If you're not looking at live service and NFTs, you might find some really cool stuff in the indie scene.
Absolutely. Well said. Agree with your points, especially the Game Pass and a younger generation like myself. I remember, man, like sometimes you had to make tough decisions. You only had a little bit of money.
Yeah.
You only had money for one game. And it's like, okay, yo, Matty, what are you buying? Okay, I'm buying this. All right. And then it was trade. Like that was how it was. So if you had Game Pass, now you're not left out.
Yeah.
Right. So all the homies are playing Halo. Okay. I got it too. I got game. Okay. You should have. It's a different era and these kids could benefit from it.
100%. This one's for you, Cog. It's a question.
Ooh.
Another explanation required for you, just like the outside one. Peter Gorski writes, good day, Dukes, a longtime listener, first time writing in. My question is primarily for Cog, but Matty, feel free to chime in. In recent weeks, Cog has referenced on both DD and ILP that some people may have begun to address him as Lord Acquisition due to his many positive opinions on gaming acquisitions. I was wondering if we could definitely hear Cog's thoughts as to why, or definitively, hear Cog's thoughts as to why he is pro-acquisition, so that anytime this question should ever come up again, you guys can reference this episode instead of having to thoroughly answer it again. Keep making one of the best gaming podcasts out there, and have I woke up scared that I was late for class even though I graduated 7 years ago kind of day. That's some special type of hell you're in, my brother. Cog, why do they call you Lord Acquisition? Why are you pro-acquisition, so to speak? So it's your time to take the stage. Defend yourself, sir. You're for consolidation in this industry. What's wrong with you?
Bring it together. Here's
holding his hands.
the thing. Listen, man. We have to we have to change and adapt, right? And as older gamers, sometimes we get antiquated with our thinking, and it has to be one way, right? And I get it. We're used to the norms. Things are changing right before my eyes, and I'm a realist. I am not a person that's going to get overly positive. You know what I'm saying? Like everything has to get consolidated, everything. But at the same time, I'm a realist. Like the games I love are made by the studios I love. And right now, these games cost way too much money to make. And if you bomb, you're out of here. You don't get a chance at a sequel. You don't get a chance at a lot of these beloved games. So my thing is, provided you do your due diligence, like Fergus Marquardt with Microsoft that time, right? With Obsidian, he's shopping, the Obsidian around, and he's like, "Yo, I heard things that y'all trying to force, the old Microsoft would try to force Connect, try to force all these things on people." And he talked to Mojang, hey, how does it work for you guys? Hey, there's the tendrils in, kind of thing. Even forget Microsoft right now. Even people are making what deals with Embracer and stuff like that, right? And they're looking at the environments. Now, obviously, not every environment's a good environment, right? We know about Tencent outside and things that they do. But the reason why I say all that is this. Let's go back to Xbox. The reason why I'm Lord Acquisition is because, one, if your future model involves Game Pass, one, you got to have a diversity lineup of games, right? You have to have a bunch of genres that's going to appeal to different people. Two, you need studios to create these games. You need studios to keep going through the pipeline. Three, look at what happened this year. Now, people, I hear the whole mismanagement talk and how did they not know? But the reality is they had their bet on Redfall and Starfield dropping from Bethesda Studios.
Sure.
It didn't happen, right? So we have to be real. These games take long to make. maybe 4 to 5 years on top of that. And I know people act like it don't exist, but there's a pandemic going on. I know people act like it don't exist, but there's a war going on. You see what's going on with Stalker 2? Right? There are real life things preventing game development in a quick cadence. So if you have this 4 to 5 year cycle, right? The way I look at it is you need more studios so you don't have to rely on just 2 or 3. Your whole Bethesda save us for 2022. You could have had some other people drop some stuff. Why you think they're so hell-bent on this Activision thing going through? They know they're going to get content once it's complete. Acquisitions for Microsoft is important because you need to fill the gaps. If your goal is a quarterly release cadence of games, and remember, think about this. We are assuming in 2023, we know about the first 6 months, right? But we're assuming Avowed. We're assuming Hellblade. We don't know. Anything could happen. Yo, they want to film the other Hellblade was Ninja Theory was to film. They have problems filming the other side of Iceland. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, Senua's thing, remember, she's like the person doing everything. Something happened to Senua. Now you don't know. Game development can change. You gotta stockpile. Why not? Let's get out of this antiquated thinking that it's not supposed to happen, because here's the last point I'll say. Look at what Sony's doing. I love it. My beloved Bungie, who struggles to make content, right? Sony has looked at a deficiency and said, yo, we don't do live service. We got that hashtag just one. We got that. But when it comes to this engagement, Jim Ryan ain't stupid. When it comes to this engagement and these multiplayer, I can laugh at Destiny. I can say, I know who's in the top 10 of most played games on Xbox every year, and it don't move. You know what I'm saying? So as much as the hardcore gamer don't like it, because the hardcore gamer, the problem with us is that sometimes the things we like doesn't sell. Sometimes we got to be
on this one, yeah,
bro. We like, yo, support the dev, and the masses ain't supported that. So that's it. That's why I'm with it. Put it in the bucket. I know people, are emotional. And listen, I get it. You have to make the right decision in the studio. Not every bag is a good bag. I've said it that too. Right. It's just that I rather this than the alternative. Could you imagine if Persona and all these games and they go away because there's no Sega like, bro, these games could go away. I rather them stay. That's where I'm at. Lord Acquisition out.
Dude. Perfect line of defense, in my opinion. I think you acknowledge everything that there is worth acknowledging on the negatives, while clearly stating why you want these things to occur. And I think just as a business, people need to kind of accept that even if you're not for it, that it's going to happen, because there's just so much money to be made in the next half a decade. So much money to be made. Gaming is super profitable now. And if you've been building up your company for a while and you're making great games and you have the ability to cash in on all that you've built and walk away with a nice payday. And what we've heard in some instances is that it's easier to make games now because you got more money. You're going to do it too. It's the same energy that YouTube sponsorships have. And it's why I'm about to pull the plug on my whole no game sponsorship thing, because at times I'm just like, who the fuck are we appeasing at this point, right? And it's the same energy. It's like, I can't trust you. You took money. It's like, bro, I'm making a living. It's the same thing. It's the same thing here with this. It's like, well, you're for consolidation. It's like, they're making a living, man. That is money that is making games better in some respects. And I'm here for it in a sense too. I of course, not every acquisition is good. You said that too. Of course.
And we want creative freedom. We want them to still be able to do the things that they're able to do.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, we're going to see, without a doubt, one of these days, you'll get a 10-cent acquisition of something pretty important to the industry, and you're going to go, shit. And then they'll come to you, COG, probably, and be like, you for this too? Before this too?
Of course. We've all had that. We all dreading the company that you don't want to acquire in your company. Of course, we dread it. And that's where, the moral dilemma lies, right? Where it's like, are you going to support it? And that's the thing. We get it. But I'm not stupid in to say that, yo, I'm putting this hard in the line stance that I am not going to do. Because, bro, they're going to have that game that you like. That's the question. You tell me you're not gonna play. I'm not gonna lie to myself. I know I'm gonna play. So that's when the moral dilemma is, and it's just everything. We're in a time where it is gray. There is gray. We can't ignore it. There's going to be some choices individually that you have to make personally on whether or not you support or not. And I respect either side of it. But this like fear mongering, we gotta listen. Unless you can prove that on your own you're self-sustainable, by all means, then stay it. I will support you if you can prove it. I just don't want you to go away if you flop or something. That's all.
And we kind of see that situation maybe happening with Platinum, who's had a really rough couple of years, and they're begging to be purchased. And I mean, I think more people would be sad if they went away. I think it's a perfect, reasonable, realistic example of like, hey, this company that made Bayonetta and Astral Chain and not Beautiful Joe, sorry, The Wonderful 101. So many cool games, and they could just peace out.
Oh yeah, like I'm surprised Sony ain't do that. That's the thing that's surprising me. Like Sony didn't jump in. So something, I don't know. It's a weird situation, bro.
Let's just be honest. The stuff they've been putting out lately, I love Platinum. They haven't been. There's no longer the ABC team anymore. It's just been the C team all throughout.
Put them on a prove it deal.
Yeah. Hey, we thought maybe that would be what Scalebound would end up being, right? Like, come on, come prove it. We'll bring you into the family if you do this right. So maybe they'll get that. But I hope they don't go. So yeah, it's an example you can think of.
Unblock me, copy and sign. I interviewed you.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm blocked now.
I'm blocked because I got hyped. He tweeted Astral Chain too.
I'm like, bro, I love you. Like, he's so funny. Yeah. This guy is hilarious.
Caspa XBL writes in next. Greetings, my lovely dukes. The other day, I was sitting upon my porcelain throne taking care of business, and as all great minds do when taking a dump, I pondered life's greatest questions. Specifically, I thought about when was the best time to be a gamer. I thought about all the years I've been gaming and instantly thought about the year 2007 and how many games came out at that time. BioShock, Assassin's Creed 1, COD 4, Portal, Mass Effect 1, Uncharted 1, Halo 3, and of course the world-renowned game of the decade, LEGO Star Wars, The Complete Saga, just to name a few. My question to you boys is, when do you believe was the best time to be a gamer? Or when was your personal favorite period of time in gaming? Thanks a lot, and I hope you fine gentlemen have I just finished dropping the kids off the pool, but I'm out of toilet paper kind of day. Hey, man, that's the brick wall story coming back. I've been there. That's a bad one.
Yeah, you got to do the Matty, man. You got to hide behind it.
Yeah. The grass is your friend, Casper.
Bro, I salute you. That was some MacGyver makeshift. Like, I respect it.
Look, you got to survive out there, right?
I respect it, man. I'm learning. Shout out to Casper. Yeah, I'm with him on was it 2007? That's amazing. Like, Mass Effect 1. Portal. See, and I like the old Assassin's Creed when you used to be in the shadows and you're moving through the crowd, and you know what I'm saying. And you got BioShock and COD, bro. Modern Warfare.
I was a World at War guy, so pardon me for not being enthused.
I respect you. But for me, Modern Warfare made me betray Halo for a little bit.
Yes.
Then you talk about Halo 3, Chris Reagan's favorite game of all time. Yeah. Like, it's a hard one. Now, we all got our own personal years and stuff like that, but that's a tremendous, I remember that year. That was a tremendous. But I am curious, since Matty is very resistant right now. He's pacing. I know something's coming. So, Matty, where are you with the greatest year in gaming for you? Or time period in gaming?
Yeah, I originally, when I saw this question, put it in, I was like, I'll look it up and have my answer prepared. But I'm like, eventually you're going to start to see years where like you've played games years after it had come out, and then you're just going to rate the year on its own, right? Instead of like, what did I live through and go like, this has been an amazing stretch. And I always go back to 2013. That was one of my favorite years of gaming.
Okay, break it down.
I think of that trifecta of BioShock Infinite, The Last of Us, and GTA 5.
Oh, that was hard.
Right?
Yeah, that was hard.
I don't know if I can think of any other games that year, but those three, like I always go back to and go like, man, that was such a good time. And I think of other games, like I think DMC, Devil May Cry came out that year, the Ninja Theory one, which a lot of people hate. I love that game. That game
It was
is
really
so good. Again, I don't remember if that's 2013. That might be 2012, but that game is way better than any hate it ever got. That is such a fun video game. Might be my favorite DMC game. I'll just throw that out there.
Oh,
But,
wow, that's big. Okay,
you know, I think a year's like, this might be a hot one. 2020. 2020 delivered Persona 5 Royal,
okay.
Doom Eternal, Neo 2.
Okay.
You know, fun remakes like Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated,
so bad.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, hold on, you got my attention.
Yeah, I just feel like there's been some real banger years as of recently. You know, you really want to go full weep. 2017 was insane.
Weep City, let's go.
Yeah, Nier Automata, Danganronpa V3.
Here it comes.
Persona 5.
Wow, massive.
Tales of Berseria.
Oh,
I mean, dude, there's been some good years as of recently. That's why I'm not down on gaming. There's been some strong years. In the first half of this year, I shouldn't say the first half of this year was strong. There's a lot of stuff I didn't like, but I'm hoping next year could be one of those years. So, I mean, I could pick out a bunch of them, but if I was to pick ones I've lived through, those are ones that really do stand out in my head as like, that was a fun year. Like, it just kept delivering. The most recent one being 2020. Yeah. Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2020. Hello?
Yeah. That was strong for me. I love
Wasteland 3.
3. Yeah. 2020 was nice.
2020 was nice. Mad good, bro. 2020 was mad good. So, yeah, I mean, of course, 2007. That's another great one, right? That has been fully detailed for us. So there's been just a lot of fun years. But those are some that come to mind for me. Last question of the show. This is something I've thought about a lot. Jason Hunter writes, "Hey, y'all. There are a ton of great indies on Game Pass with more coming every month. Do you think that they try to leverage crossplay with Switch a little bit more? I started playing Fall Guys, and it'd be great to carry over my progress no matter what platform I'm on. I could see this being useful with RPGs as well. Thanks, Jason." And I was thinking like how nice it would be to have just a save that could ebb and flow between consoles, because I've been playing TMNT, right? So that goes back and forth between Xbox and PC, but I bought it on Switch too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think I wasn't going to bring TMNT to the spa with me? Come on now. When I was at the spa and club, I had to bring TMNT for that late night activity.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so, I wish I had my progress from that.
I know.
I wish I could bring it over, but unfortunately I couldn't. So what do you feel about this, Cog? Do you think in a future, like they've teased so much about the Nintendo Switch in the background, that's got to be after the Samsung TV, now that we got the partnerships with the TVs in motion, I'm predicting that the next target is Nintendo, maybe.
Go.
Do you think that this is maybe in their future?
I mean, it's been teased, hinted so long, and it's just like, yo, what is going on with this relationship? We still remember we saw it on that Switch on the back of Phil's shelf.
Yeah, and a production set too with Sarah Bond. It's like,
come on. We know what's going on. So the only thing I could think that could potentially hold it up is probably maybe they know an eventual Switch upgrade that is going to happen, and it's going to have a better network capability so that they can facilitate. Because remember, these newer TVs for Samsung are the one that's facilitating the app. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe the agreement is in place. Like it's like a letter to intent. But we ain't waiting until, I love my letters of intent. So maybe they're waiting, so that. But to Jason's question, yeah, this needs to happen. Like, it was good to do it in MLB The Show. Like I got MLB The Show on Switch to test, and you can do your progress and stuff like that over. So that's cool. But yeah, like I remember having Streets of Rage. I'm like, damn, I don't have all my unlocks. I don't got my suits. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And the Switch is the perfect game console to be able to do cross progression with, and then just take it out and go. Because again, unlike some people are not gonna be able to do xCloud everywhere, right? So you want that localness of the Switch to be able to take that on a plane and Matty in the spa, you know what I'm saying? Manny Petty on. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, not that.
Doing,
Just a lot of hot baths. Just a lot of hot baths.
You know what I'm saying? You know, you got your you chilling. So, and for me, I am the king of either the doctor's office, DMV, you know, anything where it's, long wait.
Yeah.
Well
taken care of. Yeah.
No problem. That's the type of time I'm on. So, like this needs to happen. I want more progression in these games. I think that's great. And it's ultimately what Xbox should want, based on their vision of putting you everywhere they're at.
Absolutely.
Wherever you're at.
Absolutely. So we'll see how they maybe figure that out. But I thought it was a great question worth asking. And that's everything we have for this week's show, Cog. Another one in the books.
Another one, smooth, light and concise, but good. The LSM was in the building. They brought it. They brought it this episode. Yeah. Like the questions was all fire, man. Yeah, I love it. What we going with? We just going.
Trying to think of some major conversations we had, because this week was, like, comparatively speaking to what we've had, lighter.
Yeah, it was definitely lighter.
So, So I don't even know, like, for those who don't realize, like, most times when we create these episodes, I typically don't have a label in mind for it. I just let the show speak for itself. And I'm like,
we just let it go.
I'm like, what's the main thing we talked about here that I want to label the show around, whether it be news or whether it be like the questions. And this is one of those where it's like, there's not like a main central point. Yeah. Right. Like, we had conversations, but
we had conversations. I felt on TMNT, we really went hard for TMNT. We ran hard for TMNT, but I know, like, to hold the whole joint, but it's up to you.
You know, we had a lot of, if you really wanted to encapsulate our conversation, I'm getting to my title bag here. We kind of talked about the state, if you will, of the exclusivity for Xbox in 2022 and what's to come and what's delivered. And I kind of like where you're at, though, with TMNT. Like, TMNT DD just sounds right.
It's the moment right now.
Yeah.
What the passion is right now. And it's a huge get for them, right? Like, you know, me and King wanted them to promote it more in their own showcase. Like, it wasn't even there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's do TMNT DD then.
TMNT.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you got this deep in the show. You want to let us know your thoughts. You can go over to Twitter. I'm at G27status. That is at Lord Cognito. Let us know your thoughts with the hashtag TMNTDD. You can click on it and read other people's thoughts as well. It's something that you can engage in every week if you'd like to. Otherwise, if social media ain't your thing, comment on Patreon, comment in the video. Again, hashtag TMNTDD. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. With that, Cog, any closing thoughts you may have, sir?
Another fire episode with the Dukes. Another one, man. This is fun. I'm getting ready. We got more stuff coming, more things cooking. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, take decent care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week for episode 78 of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.